Alright, hello and welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker. Tonight I finally got around to buying all the materials for the raid, so we're going to go on Reaper. Might take a bit though, so I'm going to be leveling Gunbreaker in the meantime. Some fates I can do for some easy experience. Model. I don't have time for that one, but I do have time for here. Or I could just fly there. A silver round, well that's still something. Actually, if I get to 77, that'd be really nice, since that means I can, when I start doing the Gunbreaker leveling after the main raid, I can just do this. I'd most like to do Attack of the Killer tomorrow because it's a boss fate. I just don't... There's no time left to kill it, even if another player came along. Well, I guess we just have... Now, this is a queue pop. I just need to wait for the rest to accept then. It took longer than expected, but they might have been AFK at the time or minimized the window thinking it'd take longer. Right, can't forget my chat blocking. I'll save them. I must. Wait, what? This appears to be one of the warders we seek, but I'm afraid he's in no state to answer questions. Perhaps you could bring him to his senses. Well, we know they all have the ability to transform, so I guess this must be his form. Let's roll. Order of the Condemned, Erechthonios. First one, so it could be really easy or really hard. Amorphism. Perfect, I love more amorphism. 3, 2, 1. Run all you like, but my chains will catch you. Alright, so Warder's Wrath. I'll just stay where everyone else is. That's a sure way to survive, right? Alright, so Warder's Wrath is the team-wide pitiless fall. Ooh, that's following someone. Jailer's Flail. Oh, they're all moving right here. I guess this is the right place to be. This can't serve me wrong, right? Heavy Hand, that's a tank buster. Music is surprisingly quiet. Be assailed by ice and flame. I have no idea what this is, so let's find out. That didn't work as well as I was hoping. Hot spell. Oh, I see, so I need to be where there's a cold spell. Okay, I think I get this mechanic now. Yeah, see, I take reduced damage if I take the opposite. Good to know. Allow you to run free. Let's hope this works. Following the crowd can't end badly, right? There we go. Yeah, he's mixing mechanics now. So I want to go on the red. There we are. I may not know the mechanics, but most people playing do, since it's the second week, I believe, since release, I mean. Cold, so I need fire. ice next. Fire. There we are. I appreciate Dark Missionary. That's a Dark Knight skill. It reduces the party's magic damage taken, which is good because Reapers and Dragoons have the lowest magic resistance of all the melee jobs. So suffice to say, I absolutely do not want to take magic hits if I can avoid it. I'm guessing I want to be on red. This red, to be exact. I see the flail, so where the flail lands determines what half of the screen he hits. I have permission till LB4, so let's make sure I'm in the right spot. Alright, the end. The Reaper's LB3. And he's dead. Doesn't matter where he throws at us now, we can't lose anymore. Since the Dragoon used his second eye on me, I'm gonna use the calm on him. Here we go. Astronomy. There we go, we brought the warder back to his sanity, so that's good. Duty complete. Unsung gauntlets specified. Odelos. Actually, I do like the Reaper gear here, so I'm probably gonna try and get the whole thing so I can make that my glamour. Player combo. Dragoon buffed me, so Dragoon gets it. There we are. And we're done. Where familiars dare. Oh, excellent, it put me here. Hello, Themis. That was a thrilling display, and if I may be so vaunting, the warriors I spun from your ether fought even more splendidly than I anticipated. I suppose they were cut from excellent cloth, after all. We should wait until this man regains his senses. He wears the robes of a warder, so I'd be very curious as to know what drove him to attack us sight unseen. He also mentioned something about trying to save them, protect them, something like that. Coda, he stirs. Huh? What came over me? Erechthonios. Ancient Greek, alright. It's coming back to me. My mind was filled with a storm of desperation, anger. I leapt at you, though I knew not of your intentions. I pray my apologies, and my thanks. Had you not knocked some sense back into me, I might have fallen upon someone less capable of defending themselves. It's okay. Smacking things around is something I do best. I am Ersthonios, warder of the Asphodelos, Pandemonium's highest layer, and the place we are in right now. One must wonder why you're so desperate to keep us out. What's happening in Pandemonium? The creations interred within Asphodelos have been set free and stalk its halls to no one but violence. Oh dang, are we That is not good to say the least. Has this ever happened before? A jailbreak of sorts? No, never. Each level of Pandemonium is under charge of a keyword. Keeps strict control over the most minute aspects of the domain. They're selected with great care, and their loyalty to Master La Habrea is absolute. Yet something's gone horribly wrong. Try as we might to hold the line, the chaos within is overwhelming. I hardly realized I'd become separated from my colleagues. I remember a chorus of whispers assailing my senses, and afterwards only flashes of rage and fury, then blackness, from which I awoke to find that whatever had overcome me was gone. I see, your senses may have been muddled by magic that affects the mind, perhaps those self-same ones that saw you separated from the other warders. Whatever took a hold of me, thank you for releasing me from its clutches. That you came here from the surface must mean somewhat of our plight has reached the outside world. If you know anything that may help, please pray tell. Unfortunately, that's what we're here to tell you about, ask you about. I guess we can share what we got. Horror among horror, so Pandemonium's predictions are indeed being dismantled from within. By this individual, or individuals, that released its captives and set them upon you, no doubt. Such knowledge avails us little, however, we cannot ascertain their identity. Themis, was it? You said you worked for an organization under the auspices of the Convocation. Were they to receive word of transpired here? What measures would they take? Doubtless they would consider the place to be a lost cause. Pandemonium's tie to the outside world would be severed, or perhaps wiped from existence entirely. So basically, they'd either quarantine it and leave everyone inside to fall, or simply nuke it from orbit, so to speak. Neither is particularly preferable, especially since we know there's people still in there, like this warder here. As I thought, were the creatures to escape the outside world, there'll be untold carnage. Words of La Habrea would never risk that, despite what value research subjects may hold. All the more reason to work with haste. If we can't expect further help, it falls upon me to save the others. I'll not leave them behind. Oh, you would go alone? I wouldn't leave the other warders to face certain doom. I know they'd fight for survival even now. They wouldn't abandon their duty. They would see those creatures return to their cells at all costs. And so I must do the same. Themis, I know the request I'm about to make of you is a monumental one, but please, say not a word this convocation until I've been given a chance to set things right. Forgive my rudeness, Mr. Aristonios, but my decision cannot be swayed by emotion. You would be co-signing yourself to an early death. Strength of resolve alone cannot win in the face of overwhelming odds. That being said, our investigation's only just begun, and so we would be remiss to turn back ere we've done an exhaustive survey. So for the time being, there's slightly more resolve to rely upon. More than resolve to rely upon. Yep, they'll just leave it to me. I'm very good at punching things very, very hard, as proven by, you know, that one scene. Yeah, I knew you'd be all too eager to join us. The moment since you fell from the sky has been more interesting than the last. More and more, you remind me of my dear friend. Which goes the same way towards encouraging me this matter will yet reach a satisfactory conclusion. So, you agree to help? For the moment, our goals align, the protective magics of Pandemonium yet hold, and so for the moment, time is in our favor. Let us proceed upon the course you and Coda have set us upon. Themis and Coda, yes? The warders owe you a great debt already. We shall be glad to have someone familiar with Pandemonium's halls by our side. A party of 3 is ever so much more entertaining than a pair of 2. Now let's turn our attention towards rescuing your colleagues. Perhaps it would be wise to approach the gates in case any of you follow what you do out. I imagine for this raid I'm just going to be rolling on virtually everything. The only reason I didn't roll for the accessories before is because Heaven's Eyes worth it. Savage Aim might be a bit better. Yeah, because if you... Sorry about the delay. Even if you're only watching the Final Fantasy XIV VODs, I imagine you might have forgotten by the story so far by now. Basically, what started this all is that in the Ethereal Sea, a mysterious stone from the ancients arose from the bottom of this Ethereal Sea, out of seemingly nowhere. And it doesn't have a Convocation member of 13 sigil on it, so it's not one of theirs, but it has to be from the Ancients, and it has to have surfaced for a reason. We also remember that when we first got sent back to the world Unsundered, it was directly stated by Elidibus that we meet at some point in the past. And that we probably have to in order to create a proper stable time loop. And of course, we've yet to meet a Zem in person, despite them supposedly being us. Just, you know, human instead of cat person for my character here. Maybe I'll have to redo the hair a bit now that I'm going to be maining Reaper. But don't worry, I'm still going to be sticking to anime Pretty Boy because it's Final Fantasy. It wouldn't fit very much. I mean, come on, and this isn't even a new thing either. Don't forget that Cecil Harvey, he took off his Dark Knight helmet and revealed he was a pretty boy paladin beneath all that armor. Seems our investigation will be quite the ordeal after all. Still, I find it hard to believe that La Habrea knows not what has transpired here. Whoever this mastermind is, they do not lack in power and cunning. I guess while we're here, I should take a moment to explain La Habrea for the purposes of anyone who doesn't play this game or doesn't remember. He was one of the original little Ascians that we faced during Realm Reborn and Heavensward, ultimately meeting his end in Heavensward. He fought us a few times, and most notably after we defeated the Ultima weapon in Realm Reborn, he took Thancred's body to fight us, hoping to force us to kill our friend, but Hydaelyn stepped in directly and used quite a bit of her power to help us save him. And that was the last time she ever helped in a direct manner, or at least until Endwalker. Oh yes, I should probably explain exactly how he met his end. Basically, the final boss of Heavensward, Thordan, used the power of the Dragon Eyes to make himself become a primal. And he absorbed the ether of La Habrea, who didn't expect the dude to turn on him in order to make himself even more powerful. And being an unsundered Ascian, that must have been quite a bit of power, because technically speaking, the final boss of... Okay, spoilers, but the final boss was the Knights of the Round. But technically speaking, only King Thordan, the leader, was the primal. The rest were ordinary humans granted his power and blessing. So I guess he must have spread La Habrea's unsundered power between them so that they'd all have roughly equal power to himself. And that's also how they transformed when we did the Vault last time. It was supposed to be a hint that they had been granted some kind of strange power. And although I guess he didn't have at the time, which I guess explains why it was only temporary. Because Thordan hadn't stolen La Habrea's power, he couldn't make it permanent like he did during the actual battle against the Knights of the Round. Granted, the eyes which powered Thordan did return again when it was used by the Alamegan rebels to summon Shinryu, because they felt that our battle against the Empire was going too slowly. They were much more extreme. And so Xenos stole them and fused himself with Shinryu to gain their power. But the eyes which contained the powers of both the dragon and La Habrea were finally destroyed by the Estinian at the end of Stormblood. So technically speaking, La Habrea should be gone for good now. Although sadly we never did learn his true name or anything like that. And Amuro implied that La Habrea was actually a major character even among the Convocation. And it seems he while he was brilliant, it seems he was also a mad scientist, going by the fact he has, you know, an actual prison. I mean, look at this. How can they work here and not think, are we the baddies? Under the surface. He's peering into the depths of Pandemonium. Not a sound can be heard from within, which means neither creature nor warder has made it this far. We should begin forming a plan to save them at once. Forgive me if I misunderstood, but you mean to rescue the warders and creations both? Naturally, although they are dangerous or valuable research subjects, I wouldn't say our labor and untold hours of study go to waste. I dare say La Habre would smile to hear you see such a thing, that is if we had cause to report this incident to him. Smile, I'm not sure if his face is capable of such warmth. We're finally learning about his personality, because we only barely got touched on back in Realm Reborn. As mentioned, he pretty much got captured at the end of Heaven's Ward. Ah, so you've met him before. I was under the impression he rarely visited Pandemonium. I have, yes. My mentor was the previous head of this facility, that is to say, La Habrea's predecessor in the position of our chief key ward. Her name was Athena, and she was a researcher with the words. It was she who appointed me in this position, in fact. Ah, so yeah, they're all Greek gods of some sort. These ancients absolutely had godlike powers. You see, I did not know there was a chief key ward before La Habrea. Your motivation to save research subjects is not entirely driven by duty of work to the words, then. You also wish to preserve the work of your mentor as well. You have the right of it. I'm lacking ideas of how to go about that, however. I'm a mere warder. I cannot wield interment magics. Ah, but I've hardly expected you to be versed in magics we use here. If you recall, during our battle, I bound you with ethereal shackles. Interment is more refined and powerful magic based upon those same principles. While both are used to keep our subjects docile, only the key ward of each tier is permitted to use it. Even if I were allowed, I'd lack the aptitude to use the spell to any notable effect. Fascinating. I have some knowledge of these forms of spellcraft, actually. La Habre himself established their formation, if I recall. While shackles are meant to bind an object in place for a short time, interment freezes the very space around it for as long as the caster wills. Oh, so basically it's a time stop of sorts. That's very interesting. Indeed, while the illusory beings you summon in our fight suggest as much, I see your knowledge of magic is vast. Perhaps you've already mastered the art, then, and I've been lecturing you like a child all this time. I'm afraid my knowledge ends there. I do not have a precise understanding of how the invocations interact with the natural laws that would be needed to cast such spells with any such consistency. While I consider myself well-versed, I would be ill-advised to assume the duties of a key ward without instruction. That said, if I were to learn more about it and its inner workings, then perhaps... Well, you have a warder standing right in front of you. Seems like a good place to start as any. Well, the solution is obvious when you put it like that. Aristhonios, you implied that what prevented you from performing it was lack of magical capacity. What if I supplemented your power with my own? Would the spell succeed then? I can't say for certain. I've never heard of such a thing being done. I believe that may be our best course then. That is, assuming you perform the initial rites and incantations flawlessly. Even the small misstep would mean we'd have to start over. Sounds good. You needn't worry about that. I've seen the spells cast so many times, their motions have been burned in my memory. I won't disappoint. Very well, let us work our specifics afterwards. Once we do, we can test out our methods on one of the escaped creatures, though I suppose there is the matter of finding one. It'd be foolish to rest in blindly, lest we find ourselves surrounded with naught but an untested stratagem at our disposal. Nay, I'd prefer to engage a single creature that Kota could dispatch on his own, if the spell were to go awry. I agree, and I think I have an idea in that regard. I recall seeing a hippocampus wandering the waterways during my flight. Perhaps it's still there. Few of the subjects are fond of water, and I believe we'll be able to engage the beast without fear of unwanted guests. I believe that should be our first target, or perhaps our subject is a better term. Before we commence with the interment magics, the creature should be weakened to a sufficient degree. I trust I can trust you with the task? As dependable as ever. Once you've given a thorough trouncing, we shall bind this hippocampus with the keywords magic. Until then, my illusions shall fight by your side. It will be alone, but it's a daunting opponent nonetheless. Its magic warps the environment around it, and it'll be home amidst the waterways. Steel yourself for a fight. Quest achieved. The second circle is now accessible. And these are all the same. Yeah, they're all 565. And even if not, I should be able to buy another piece to increase my overall item level pretty quickly. I do wonder, is Themis Elidibus? They said very few wear the white robes, but not wears one because she was a former Convocation member who is acting as advisor. And Elidibus wears white because he is an emissary. But we don't know for sure. Athena ever drove home the fact her subjects should be treated with utmost care. It would be best if we could see them confined rather than disposed of like beasts going feral. I take it we are each ready to fill our respective roles. Truth be told, this will be the first time I practiced magic requires such a degree of cooperation between parties. How thrilling! I guess I should have queued up for this and then started explaining the history behind La Habrea and the others. But yeah, while La Habrea was a pretty typical scheming, laughing villain, we didn't get much of his actual personality in his off time. And since he died in Heaven's War, quote-unquote died in Heaven's Ward, oh, that was a lot faster than I thought, actually. Usually DPS queues are a lot slower, but, well, I don't mind. There we are. Full party. The world unsundered. The second circle. That's a hippocampus! Yeah, they're having Themis create clones of other players here because the Stone of Azem, the usual item used to summon other players, doesn't work in the world unsundered because mythic creation, the hippocampus. Dang. You guys might want to tone this one down before we release it into the world. Alright. Oops, I forgot to get my, oops. Murky. Oh my, the fact that he has no side or back. The fact it's a complete circle means he's gonna do something that's very, very annoying for the purposes of, At least the good news is this means I don't need to worry about my positionals. They will simply always work even if I do it right in his face. The fact everyone's on top of these implies to me I'm about to... yeah. Spoken Catter. The Murky Depths. Sewage Deluge. Well, hopefully that helps Hopefully giving the party a heal. A small heal helps a little, even if not much. Would do well to flee to higher ground, lest the creature use us in its rage. Yep, this is definitely a sewer area. Oh wow, I wasn't hit by that somehow. Head comes off. Have care. Oh dang, it decapitated itself, yeah. I'm guessing so that it can split its attacks. Well, that worked. Guess I was a bit too early. Tainted blood. Definitely, yeah. As long as I don't move, everyone here is gonna be safe. I'm just gonna not fall, if that's okay with you. The water has receded. It's now safe to be on the floor. Dang it. That's on me, yeah. Well, this is still going smoothly overall. tainted blood. Oh, come on. You can see I was clearly out of that. Darn server ticks. Dang it, I should have activated my shield and I would have survived that just fine. The doom of the living. The samurai limit break 3 is pretty cool. The death penalty is pretty painful, as far as DPS numbers are concerned. Oh, come on, really? It doesn't matter, they got him. I must say, this music is definitely something else. Make him Super Saiyan and he can seal it. Sealed. Excellent. Healers were great. Good, 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 good. I knew you were no mere mercenary, but to make clean work of the Hippocampos, seasoned fighters scarcely have an occasion to visit Pandemonium, let alone display their skills. Mastery takes all form, indeed. Needless to say, our plan worked to perfection, no small part thanks to you two. Demus's power is more than enough to complete the interment. Spellcasting was never my strong suit, but it almost made me feel like a proper Magos. Truly, having seen your abilities firsthand in your fight, I beg to disagree. Shackles is the one exception, and 'tis only because I've been forced to practice it since I was a small child. Other magics leave me feeling completely out of my depth. Regardless, seems luck is on my side to guide me to you. You may prove the impossible possible after all. After witnessing the Hippocampus abilities, I should not blame you for wishing to avoid engaging any further creations. There, in the place of their choosing, although I doubt we'll have that luxury. Fires of creation. Themis is pondering the road ahead. While our success in sealing away the Hippocampus is certainly heartening, the fact we've yet to see any other warder concerns me. The key ward is nothing if not cautious. Doubtless he's gathered what warders he could and retrieved to a safe area. Let us hope so. It occurs to me I know little of the key wards despite their magical prowess. Is there aught more you can share? Of course, a man named Hesperos is in charge of a spell. Delos. Not only does he have knowledge of the creatures here, but he also takes great pains to be a mentor to each of the warders under his charge. He's done much to ensure that I flourished here, in spite of my ineptitude at magic, and I've always known to be a sort of man who faces difficult decisions with unwavering composure. Furthermore, key wards are not only masters of interment, they also bend the hallways of Pandemonium out to their will with creation magic. With all that in mind, I'm certain as long as Hesperos guides them, the other warders are safe. I can see why absolute control over the environs is imperative. Had we faced that upon arid sands instead of waterways, I suspect the battle might have ended much more quickly. In any case, if this Hesperos is capable and caring as you say, we would do well to seek him out as soon as we can. He has, like as not, taken your colleagues to a secure location. The safest place would be the innermost circle of Asphodelos. From there, they could flee to Abyssos if hard-pressed. Even should they have sought safe haven within the other circles, if we make for the fourth, we ought to encounter them along the way. Indeed, and we shall gain a comprehensive understanding of the situation within, and which would be essential to determining whether we ought to continue down to Abyssos. The rub, of course, is that I myself possess no power beyond to bend circles to my will. Instead, we must proceed through the central corridor, which was barred by the Phoenix, last I checked. Phoenix. I've heard that name before, a fiery bird with life eternal. Phoenix. Beyond unquenched brilliance, the perfected concept boasts nay boundless restorative powers, if I recall. Truly an exemplary feat of creation powers. Perfection has ever built on the back of failure, however, and La Habrea has suffered countless missteps during his experiments. Yeah, La Habrea was clearly a mad scientist of some kind, and he was hardly the only one. The Phoenix will be but one of many attempts at the concept gone awry. From evoking wonder, our Phoenix is a creature with fury and wrath, and seeks only to turn the world to ash. Thus it was confined within Pandemonium. Development of the concept continued elsewhere, but as the moons turned, more and more researchers abandoned the project as an impossibility, to save La Habrea in his words. When I received word that at long last La Habrea had succeeded where others had failed, I was nearly overcome. Pray tell, how did the warders celebrate their master's accomplishment? I don't believe we did. The research of the words of La Habrea has little consequence to do with our work here, save for those rare times it charged us with a new specimen. Truth be told, I don't think I remember anyone making note of the occasion. Weird. It seems like all of La Habrea's minions would love to celebrate that he succeeded at something he was long working towards. Enough reminiscing. We must make ready to confront the Phoenix. While it's possible that it flew off to some other wing, we would need to make that assumption at our own peril. Better assume we'll need to bring its most unruly subject to heel. I certainly see no reason to delay. The Phoenix's power over flame will avail it far less in a barren corridor than elsewhere, so it may serve us to subdue it sooner than later. So all this started because in our world, a mysterious stone of the ancients came out of nowhere in the ethereal sea, and here, Themis is here because they'd gotten word that something's going down in Pandemonium that they wanted to investigate. Hey, over here. There it is. Phoenix is a very big deal. It last showed up, the summon spirit itself last showed up in the Bahamut raids. So being here. That's odd. Count Dracula teleported us to a fiery wasteland, no doubt to give the Phoenix home field advantage. Yeah, as soon as they knew what was up, they teleported out immediately to try and help. At least help me get prepared. It seems whoever is behind this can alter space around us at will. We face an uphill battle. Impossible. If those are creation magic, it works, then let us confront that reality after we've conquered the enemy in front of us. Every drop of focus will be required if we were to inter the Phoenix. Yeah, I think we all know what's going on here. The one we were just... introduced to is likely the one who caused this. Perhaps that was even why he hinted when he said he faces difficult decisions with unwavering focus. So whatever is causing this, he agreed to it right away. We shall gain naught from allowing the larger implications of this distract us from the fight ahead. The Phoenix's rage will be unbridled, but I trust you're prepared for the worst. Fight well, my friend. Okay, so yeah, the Phoenix was last fought during the Binding Coil of Bahamut, the first 8-player raid in the game during Realm Reborn, and arguably one of the harder ones, since back then they weren't sure exactly how difficult they wanted these fights. Because Binding Coil of Bahamut did not have a normal story mode like this one does. It only had hardcore mode, basically, the Savage mode. So, if you want to see the story, you had to bring your A-game. In some ways, it's nice that they required you to bring your A-game, especially since the Binding of Coil of Bahamut is what explained the events that occurred, but gave you the truth of what happened between the original 1.0 and the Realm Reborn. I think officially the 1.0 is called Legacy. Yeah, I think that's its official subtitle. But yeah. You see, the Phoenix is actually Louisoix himself. When he's tried to summon the powers of the 12 to assist in Bahamut, its 12 figures showed up and granted him the power of the prayers of everyone seeking help, and that transformed him into the Phoenix. And that was how he was ultimately able to stop Bahamut in the end. And that was, of course, all this was after he had teleported the heroes 5 years in the future. I really do like the story, how it's gone. I'm just kind of curious about how they were planning to go about it, even back in the 1.0. I imagine there was a lot more political stories, like, there was a lot about the, Dusk-Red Elves, the ones that came from underground, and the, what's they called? Basically the Wood Elves versus the Dark Elves, basically, where there's a lot of, animosity between those two. But aside from briefly discussing it during Palace of the Dead, that deep dungeon storyline, they don't really go into it too much, and you could tell it was supposed to be one of the major story conflicts before. Although that reminds me, since the last stream Yoshi P had, where he mentioned that they do have plans for the next expansion, they intend to make it a clash of ideals rather than a straight-up good versus evil like this one. So they're hoping they know that Endwalker is going to be, well, hell of an expansion to beat, and they figure the best way to go about it is, since it's going to be fresh, go with something that there's no direct good and evil, just a matter of clash of ideals. I'm sure there will be some straightforward good and evil to it. I mean, there's a reason games usually start out with a simple "oh, do this" before they start introducing complexity to the story. Even single-player RPGs often do that. Like, let's see, I'm trying to think of a good Western RPG. I guess Fallout 1 might be a good example. There's a straight-up good and evil option here. Well, no, I guess that game doesn't have too much ambiguity until Fallout 2. Because Fallout 1 just starts out with, oh, the water filter chip has been broken. So we can do that, and then gradually you learn more about the truth of what's going on in the wasteland. But it does start simple. Basically, our water purifier is broken, and we need that because, you know, the vaults have to constantly recycle water in order to be self-sufficient, and so you need to find a new one. That's the straightforward of it, and basically the first half of the game, if you're playing it normally. So, that's pretty interesting there. Of course, that game did also famously have a bit of a time limit to it. Now, when you get the water chip, you are given an exact time frame of how long you can last without before everyone dies. So it's not too bad for that one. It's mostly the second one people are annoyed about, because while they do briefly hint at it at one point, they never have anything that indicates there is a second timer, and nor that you can reduce it, because you can't actually increase the time. You can pay to have water delivered to your vault to help extend the timeline if you have trouble finding a replacement water chip, but doing so reduces the second timeline, and that was a bit annoying. Later patches increased the time to an extremely generous amount. So it's not pretty much a non-issue if you're playing it in any way these days, because I know there's I'm pretty sure the patch version is in the Fallout anthology that I believe is still being sold. I don't remember, honestly. Yeah, but yeah. That one was a bit much. The second game does have a time limit as well, and it's a bit more clear, but that's a very, very generous amount of time, so unless you're intentionally trying to run up the timer, you probably won't land that one. But yeah, the first game's timers were a bit weird, because I don't mind timers as long as the game makes it clear you have a time limit here. I mean, to use think of another what's another game I can think of that has a clear time limit? The Pikmin 1 and 3 both have a time limit, but they directly tell you what is from the start. And ooh, if you want to go with old classics, Star Control 2 technically has a time limit and in fact it will, once the time limit begins and you are told about the events going on by other characters that are going on, but once it starts becoming a problem, they do start warning you, okay, time is running out, and then once it physically starts affecting the game world, it's clear, yeah, you have to figure out a solution and find it now. So it does hint at the timer a few times, and once it actually begins in earnest, it becomes clear, yeah, that you only have a limited time before you get a game over. On that note, since that's a freeware game now, I have considered streaming it, but I'm still going to mostly be sticking to newer games where possible, but I might do a bit more returns this year if I find them interesting enough. We'll see. And rest assured, my birthday special come next October is most definitely going to be a replay of something special to me. I've hit the really big ones, that's for sure, especially ones like Deus Ex, which I only after the fact I realized, oh, I talked about basically everything, including the ones that replayed, except not that one. Then again, it's probably for the best, because I could have probably filled an entire video talking about that all by itself. Here it is, the prototype for the Phoenix mythic creation. Ishtar. Oh, I was gonna use food, but I thought, wait a minute, this isn't an experience battle. Oh crap, I didn't realize that was a thing. I was so worried about getting the, yeah, I should be more careful. Oh, come on, really? Oops, that was bad on me. Ow. Scorched Exaltation. Okay, I'll have to remember that one. It only takes a minute for the vulnerabilities to fall off, but that can feel like quite a bit longer, depending on how things go. Okay, so I can't do that. Well, hopefully that helps even a little. But dang, I messed up again. Oops. Storm seeps through, pouring burning rain. Sunburn. Okay, I'm gonna assume we have to kill these things, so let's do that. Dead rebirth. Right, so yeah, that. Fledgling flight. Got it. Hello, fellow casters. Scorched Exaltation. Ow. I imagine I don't want to be in the middle. On, really. Oh well. Here we go. Surprisingly generous with timers. But yeah, I should probably get out of that, shouldn't I? Oops, I missed that because I was so focused. Angel Feathers. Scorched Exaltation. Experimental Charpu. Of course. I'm too slow. I accidentally used it on the tank buster, and I'm not the tank. Oh well. Seen this. Oops. That scholar has really done a good job keeping everyone up. I did go to the Black Fire Circle. I'll have to look back at the VOD, see what killed me there. Well, we won either way. A warrior and a paladin are not going to die, even if everyone else does, but... Okay, never mind. Warrior won't die. There we are. Not the smoothest victory, but I'll take it. Now reseal it. Gauntlets. Some pants. And the Phoenix is successfully sealed away. The Proto-Phoenix, rather. With that, the Phoenix is shackled once more. However, there's yet the simple matter of this arena. As you've told us, there's but one person with the ability and authority to wield such magic. Indeed. Though fortunately, it appears he has saved us the trouble of finding him. A contemptible display, as befits an inferior specimen. Even so, I expected to at least delay your advance. Imagine my surprise when I saw the chains of drag the phoenix back into its cage. Either the bird is even more of a failure than its creators intend to admit, or you are no mean trespassers. Sounds like someone wants a scythe-in. I'd hoped our suspicions were misplaced, but alas. Count Dracula himself. Keyword Hesperos. Why? Why have you brought such chaos to your beloved Pandemonium? Pandemonium, pitiless, impenetrable, and utterly steadfast. Unlike those charged with its keeping, it seems. What possessed you? I don't understand. Oh, Echthonios. Must you pester me with these inane questions? Think for yourself. Surely you can muster a theory or two within that dim wit of yours. Then again, you have never been one for insight. Why Master Labreus suffers your mediocrity, I shall never understand. You may look like him, but you're not the Hesperos I know. Something has warped you, too, from the inside out. Keyword I know is compassion for all those under his charge, be they clad in robes or shackled in chains. Was that all a farce? Did you hide your contempt for us all these years? Those who are content to merely glimpse the water's surface are doomed to be dragged to its depths. You prove my opinion of you with every word. Oh, shut up. There's nothing. Whatever it is you've decided, you also decided you'd never change your mind, so it doesn't really matter. My mind is clearer than it's ever been. Even now, seeing you feebly grasp for answers makes bile rise in my throat. Such wasted potential to be the son to Master Labrea, yet no more skilled with magic than newborn babe. Wait, is he literally a Labrea's son, or just his successor? Of course, it's always about Labrea. Silence, you are not worthy to utter his name. Oh, don't worry. For once, be grateful to witness a feat beyond your meager abilities, beyond your shallow reckoning. I've slipped the surely bonds of mortality. You guys are ancients. You guys are immortal by default. I have become one with our mythic creations, rid myself of imperfections. I stand on the threshold of godhood. As a Himitheos, I shall serve Master Labrea, ever faithful until the end of days. Yeah, I don't think you quite realize is how close that is. And he shall require no other. I think not! If you think a convocation of 12 member will be smashed that easily, or at least someone on par with them, are you so blind by arrogance you've lost sight of what it means to serve? Archthos is more capable than you could ever know. It was thanks to his instruction that I was able to master the art of interment, both how to wield it and how to break free of it. If that really is a Litibus, then yeah, he is far more powerful than this guy. Kota, let us quit this place. Whatever poisons corrupt his mind, its play and his power far eclipses our own. We must have time to gather our strength. Ah, how could he know my weakness is sunlight? Weaklings though they may be, it takes singular aptitude to master her interment so quickly. To say nothing how swiftly a familiar laid low the phoenix. That familiar laid low the phoenix. Regardless, their noble aims will be their undoing. Were they to fritter away their strength in calming the beast of Espadillos? I continue my work, even should they survive long and reach the heart of my domain, none shall await them but doom. I eagerly await your arrival. Even dullards have their uses. My deepest suspicions have been realized. We face the keyword of Espadillos himself. More than that revelation, however, Archthonios worries me. He loved Hesperos for his compassion, but received naught but scorn whenever the with whatever the keyword has become. He said little since our return. I can only hope the shock of recent events does not prove to be a death knell for his resolve. Much as I am loath to disturb Erchthonios so soon after what just occurred, I'm afraid circumstances do not force the luxury of time. Perhaps it will do him well to speak about recent events concerning both the keyword and his father. I thought maybe of prepping the Solso in here before I forget going in, but the problem is when I teleport into the next area, it's always going to cleanse me of this. I even made it show up here in the middle of my screen so that I can remind myself that I need to have it active. And as you can see, even if it's against a single target, that's 600 potency damage, compared to this 300, 380 if comboed, 460 if comboed. This is stronger than each and every one of them, so using it even just once would be quite helpful. The creation of the ward which surrounds Pandemonium was an astounding feat of magical prowess, a feat accomplished by none other than La Habrea. Both my father and I can bind others to chains, perhaps the only thing we have in common. Ah, so it is true. I am La Habrea's son, bereft of his talent for magic or his brilliant mind, but son nonetheless. Surely this doesn't come entirely as a surprise to you. I had an inkling when you said you'd practiced ethereal shackles since childhood. Assuming you haven't been employed here quite that long, that would indicate some long-held connection. This also explains how he was able to talk about how much he's met with La Habrea in person, because he's known him for most of his life then. It was La Habrea that taught me how to cast ethereal shackles, but that was it. My further education was overseen by the words of La Habrea, more specifically my mother, who was a researcher here. Athena, I take it? You did speak of Athena. She's her mother, yes? That was... yep, I was right on the money. How astute, I can see now why you're chosen to lead this investigation. You have the right of it. Athena was my mother, and it was she who invited me to join her here. La Habrea had nothing to do with it. I see there's little love lost between you two, but I cannot see as why La Habrea appointed Chief Keyword when another was already in place. It was in place. My mother no longer her. What love do I owe him now that he's offered not one drop of compassion then? I see, he's no longer an expression to convey the end of a life. I have known only the public face of La Habrea. While he is lauded for his ability to maintain composure in the face of unnerving circumstances, I must admit he often comes off as cold. Apologies, but can we speak of something else? This topic is an easy one for me to discuss. Given the implications here and how cruel he's become by the time of Realm Reborn, I imagine he wasn't exactly a soft puppy even beforehand. Of course, with more pressing matters at hand, of course, namely how to deal with Hesperos. We've yet to see the other warders. Judging by what we know, we can surmise he's confined them somewhere beyond our grasp. And now that he's aware of our presence, he'll be preparing for our next encounter. We cannot expect to face him on equal footing. Quite the opposite, in fact. Every moment we spend chasing the creations, another moment he can contrive another advantage. The wisest course would be to confront him first and foremost. Yeah. He said that he has become one with the creations. Perhaps that means he's vulnerable to internment. In theory, that should be possible. However, is it merely enough to confine him after all he's done? I need to know why. I need to know what drove him to forsake everything he's worked for. Was it truly so he could serve his master? To my mind, he's put La Habrea's own work at risk at trade for some nebulous power. La Habrea is the chief keyword of Pandemonium. How would throwing into disarray win his favor? I share your curiosity, but we must consider that our enemy has a disadvantage in every sense. What do you think? Should we seek to put him into fetters, or would it be too dangerous to allow him to quarter? I want answers too, but it is good pointing it. If it helps any, I can defeat him entirely if it comes to that. If internment does fail, I can strike him down for good. Daring as ever, I see. I know not which trials you faced in your past, but to see you so certain is all the convincing I need. Very well, let us try this plan. Thank you, Coda. Yeah. I believe that I can shed some light on the very nature of our foe. When Hespero spoke with us, I noticed he bore telltale fangs, the Vercrolcus, a beast which feeds off the ether of its prey. Likely a creation he merged his own essence with. And we know all too well he can change the environment around himself at will. The battle will not be an easy one, but I believe in our victory. So yeah, he's actually a vampire now. And he's going to go full Count Dracula on us. The fourth circle, the final area. Feels like it's taking even less time to get through these, but then again, it wasn't exactly slow during the Eden raids back in Shadowbringers. Although granted, the Eden raids and Shadowbringers was mostly a clip show of sorts, since a lot of them were just were basically just new versions of fights with the Realm Reborn Primals. So the main elements, you know, Titan, Leviathan, Ramu, Shiva, that sort of thing. Yeah, since the goal of that raid was to restore life to the empty, the bleached world which was created from the wave of light. We need to go through each of those, so there actually wasn't too much story while most of the primals were being summoned to restore life to their element to the area. Most of the story came in the tail end, which is honestly kind of unfortunate. Though I will say it's not, at least not as bad as the Omega Raids, which was basically just a robot tournament of sorts until the final one where Omega finally started speaking about his history and stuff. It took... Honestly, if I had to pick a least favorite raid in the game, it would definitely be the Omega Raids, just because it took too long to get going. And while it did have some legitimately interesting reveals, revelations, especially with Endwalker revealing his own home planet to us, to explain his history and motivations better, most of the fights felt like they were just there as a formality. Here they've done a better job of weaving the fights in, even if it's going rather quickly to bring us in the fights. In a way, I do kind of miss one thing that Stormblood's Omega Raids did, and that's that they had some plot fights where you just fight a group of enemies or a mini-boss or whatever outside of the raids themselves for plot reasons. But even then, those were mostly confined at the start. So, unfortunately, they kind of fell off rather quickly. And I forgot to queue. Oh dear. Clear this and put this. Called himself Prometheus and claim immortality. I know not what he discovered in this dark art, but his actions do not speak a sound mind. If Hesperos possessed a lesser power, he resort to this. Clearly, I must judge him. I like nothing more than strike him down myself. But seeing you wipe that arrogant grin off his face would certainly be just as sweet. I will cut through the veil of despair and villainy. Oh, slice through. I do not know if this one's going to take a little while or not, but then again, the others weren't too slow, I guess. Then again, I guess maybe a bit slow for now, so I guess I can teleport somewhere else to wait. Now let's see, where do I want to go today? Actually, I just remembered I haven't done the role quest for Melee DPS yet, which Reaper qualifies as. I can do that while I wait. That actually will have some instanced fights. At the very least, it should be more fun than just watching my... Oh, here we are. Excellent. Here we are. Kind of neat Lawbreak gets an entire raid dedicated to him, more or less, but then again, I guess he was the last of the Unsundered that didn't have a lot dedicated. I mean, Hades has been Emmett Selk was a huge part of the story, and Elidibus for even longer, actually. Alright, Count Dracula. I'm here to put an end to your reign. Hemithios Hesperos. I was hoping he'd throw those glasses for the dramatic reveal, but... That's a tank buster. Setting the scene. Whatever this is, I'm assuming I want to be over here. Ah, I see, that's why. Ow, 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 ow. Magic barrier. Darn, I was a little too late on that. Earth, it looks like. Everyone's gathering here, so I'm assuming this is where I want to be. Ah, that's why. I probably don't want to be there, do I? At least I would assume not. That's magic, that's gonna hurt like hell. Yep, it did. One thing I really wish they'd do is make it more clear what damage is magic and what is physical, because that makes a big difference for a lot of jobs. Ether turns, by shall you be under ether sucker, absorbing and storing ether. That kind of ruined me, didn't it? Oh, what? Rat and the maze is moving at first, but still a rat of vermin to be disposed of. Oh dear. This isn't going to end well for us, is it? I imagine that's the intent, actually, but... That's not what I don't want any of that. Oh, wait. No healing. That should be fine for me. Shield, shield up, shield up, shield. There we are. Hey, it said no healing, and there was indeed no healing there. Ah, I was in the corner and still killed me. Well, it's just a testament to how bad the magic defenses are, though I imagine my vulnerability stack was not helping matters. I'm not sure what that person was... I guess they must have accidentally hit the limit break. That's why I have it off of my no-click combo area, so that I don't accidentally click the limit break. Messing up my positionals is a little annoying, but... Oh. Crap. Okay, good. I did position myself better than I thought there. No DPS. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that hurts like hell. No healers, so I think I can do that one. Thrice come ruin. Bearing signs the end may become. Too many stacks result in doom. We got him. Nothing if not gentlemanly, and perhaps bloodthirsty. Armor, they skipped the armor. Well, not complaining. You need 4 pieces of armor to create the top. Now, let's get some answers, shall we? Count Dracula? Now, Themis, we end this here. Fools, I will not be put in chains. Oh, to think that I would fall before once as you. Perhaps I should have treated you as more than a mere nuisance. Oh, quit being a sore loser. Despite your victory, you shall never have the knowledge you seek. The secrets of my transformation, of my deception, they shall return to the star with me. You're wasting your breath, Hesperos. We have the upper hand now. Surely you can see that. Yes, my repertoire is not exhausted yet, however. Although I have failed, my end shall be on my terms. A bit extreme, but I think I remain loyal to the very last. Come what may, I die with dignity. I guess we have no choice but to go into Abyssos next, and whatever's after that. How did your ambition lead you so astray, Hesperos? You were better than that. Your star shone more brightly than any other in Pandemonium. You had Lawbreaker's respect, his trust. What more did you seek? That you could forsake all that and sully your legacy besides? Lawbrea seems like he could be behind all this. That's one way I could see his most loyal minions turning against everyone else. He became so blinded by his own desires he lost sight of his duty. In the end, he lost everything, and his plan lie in tatters. I failed to see the dignity in this. Even so, I would have liked to know why he chose this path. Hesperos' infatuation with her father was undoing. Perhaps he was so jealous that fate had chosen you and not him to be Lawbrea's son. So terrible his jealousy, thought that he sought verboten power. Forbidden power, power that Lawbrea would be unable to ignore. How does pursuit for respect warp one's heart so? How does infatuation with one turn into contempt for everything else? I've never heard of such a thing. It's not as uncommon as you might think, if that really is the responsible here. Even in this story, we've run into more than a few where simple jealousy led to... I see. I admit I cannot help but find it vexing. Perhaps that signifies not but my own capacity for bitterness. I do understand what it has become to have a beacon to follow in dark times, a person whom you trust to guide you true. How it is to desperately wish their light would fall upon you again. But we've spent enough time assuming the intentions of the departed. There are the living to consider. We must find the other warders and round up the remaining creations forthwith. Of that, at least we can be certain. That sounds good. I believe I can be of help in the matter. The influence of Hesperos' magic is fading throughout Asphodelos. Now is the perfect opportunity to seize control of the facilities and restore things to their original state. Can you really do that? Well, now that the main person behind what was going on in this area is gone, I see no reason we can't restore them. Wait, what is this presence? Ersthonios, what lies beyond this threshold? That's the passage that connects Asphodelos to Abyssos. Why? Be on your guard, you two. Now that Asphodelos is free of obstructions, I can more easily sense disturbances at lower levels. Something is in Abyssos. A barrier. That's the same kind the Ascians would use. A warding sigil. How? So that's what that was this whole time. Warding sigil. Let's return to the gates for now. I should like to appraise the situation from there. Needless to say, our investigation is far from over. Well, they need some reason to force us to wait until the next update. Just when I thought our work to be done, did this tragedy unfold throughout all of Pandemonium? It sure seems like it. Although we have defeated Hesperos, it appears we have but scratched the surface of Pandemonium's troubles. My heart's still swimming with questions, but could that mean that Hesperos wasn't actually behind this? Yeah, as expected, the conspiracy is deeper. That's a stark possibility, yes. The root of this crisis may lie somewhere much deeper than Abyssos, even. When we first encountered you, you said the memories of your escape were vague and your senses were muddled. I believe this is more than the result of a panicked mind. You're made to feel this way by a powerful magical influence. It's possible the same magic could have poisoned Hesperos' heart, twisting his affections for La Habrea into a burning obsession. Then, in his altered state, he made an offer of power he could not refuse. He was made an offer of power he could not refuse. Are you suggesting someone else turned Hesperos into that thing? If so, it stands to reason they wouldn't stop at him. Indeed, our mysterious mastermind does not lack for subjects of his experiments, for more potential hemithoi. If what you're saying is true, then my colleagues, they're doomed to share the same fate. Do not lose heart yet. Hesperos challenged us alone, and that tells me the process of his creation was a long and taxing one. If he was the first Hemithios, then the rest of the warders are likely still alive. However, as much as I'd like to hasten deeper, the way forward is sealed off. We must focus on efforts on finding a way through. With the creation still having free reign, that won't be of Asphodelos, that won't be easy. On the contrary, I yet retain control of these circles, and thus can wield and turn magic that hauls at will. The creatures will pose no threat to us. Just like that, there's nothing stopping us from returning order to Asphodelos. Just so, I just require your expertise to keep the peace after the subjects have been returned to their confinement, however. You're Asphodelos' sole remaining warder, after all. Truth be told, I did not expect this investigation to become so involved. Of course, I'd like to resolve matters here without resorting to outside help, but, do you mean send a report to La Habrea? Just too soon to say. Let us first find a way into Abyssos. It would be best to withhold our judgment until we've ascertained the whereabouts of the other warders and the identity of the party responsible for our disappearance. Yeah, honestly, I think Themis is thinking the exact same thing I did. It's entirely possible La Habrea himself set these things going. After all, well, these are all La Habrea's most loyal minions. What would cause loyal minions to turn against their own master? Well, what if they're not? What if, in fact, turning against everyone else was their master's order? Agreed. Even so, if it means saving this single life, I'm not above asking La Habrea for help, should it come to that. I'd say ask Emmett, but let's be honest here, he'd say this is not his domain. You need someone who is much more skilled in this sort of thing, and La Habrea would be his #1 recommendation. Recent discoveries certainly paint Hesperos's actions into a new light. The number of unknown elements in this investigation grows, and we must proceed forward with the utmost caution. To that end, Eristhonios and I will remain here for the time being. As I enjoy your company, I do not believe we shall be needing protection so long as we remain in Asphodelos. You should take this time to rest. Surely you're weary, and there may be more battles ahead of us. Themis' burden may grow heavier in your absence, but he's shown he's more than capable of bearing it. Still, I'll help wherever I'm able. All I've achieved thus far is thanks to you two, and I mean to repay the debt I owe. I don't know what use I can be outside of placating the creatures, but I'll find a way. Since the main reason behind us, Fidelos, is gone, I think simply placating the creatures is more than sufficient, honestly. What nonsense, you owe us nothing. It's thanks to your knowledge of the magics which govern this place we were able to come this far. Elsewise, we'd have likely succumbed to the Hippocampus' assault. Each of us has arrived this Dia Pass by separate paths, but it's only by combining our respective expertise that we reach the end of it and see Pandemonium saved. Thank you, Themis. Hesperos's words have affected me more than I realize. Together we come this far and will reach the end. I have no doubt we will. Even so, allow us Kote's rest. Besides, you have something to awaiting your report on your progress, yes? I dare say your story will be much more than they could have ever imagined. I imagine that mysterious ancient crystal is going to be what tells us for the next two parts are ready. Technically, between story patches and story updates, there are time passing in the game world, but they always make it vague exactly how much has passed. At the Professor's behest, we have kept our reports on recent events as vague as we could manage. Even if we wish to do otherwise, not much of note's even transpired as of late. Professor Claude has tasked me with recording the ethereal signatures of each and every crystal in the recent orders. As a lowly assistant, I'm honored to be given such an enormous and monumental assignment. Welcome, Coda. Back from the past, no worse for wear, I see. What did you find, exactly? Something's going on with Pandemonium, a specific prison of sorts where they keep especially dangerous research subjects. So there is evil afoot in Pandemonium, an already ominous place, I must say. Mythic beasts and missing warders. Truly that we are fortunate to see you return to us in one piece. It appears the voice Coda heard from the crystal spoke the truth. As for who it left it behind, and why, those questions need to be answered. Yeah, it's hard to say. Could have been Elidibus himself, or it could have been Azem, our past self. But it does seem a bit odd that our past self would just allow the time. Well, I guess that's interesting, though. Did Heidelin share her past self the information, hope she could undo it in her timeline? Or did she feel it was impossible for the ancients to save themselves? The cutscene where we see her decide to sunder the world was pretty major, that's for sure. Heidelin may not be a pure good, quote-unquote, but the fact of the matter is, we now know exactly what she did and why, and it's actually pretty understandable. Like I said, it seems the ancients were definitely setting up for their own downfall sooner or later. Even if Hermes' emo birdie, he didn't cause the end of days, something eventually would have. And the fact they're only possible course of finding a solution was just, well, we'll just create. Well, we create things. Let's just create ourselves as a god with even greater power and have it restore everything the way it was. So that was their only solution. So yeah. It appears the voice Coda heard from the crystal spoke the truth. As for who left behind and why, those questions have yet to be answered. Indeed, it could be someone who lived among the ancients, or it could be someone trying to avert a tragedy from the future. Much remains shrouded in a mystery. Yet, inch by inch, I think I mentioned, but the way measurements in this universe work is you basically replace the end of any... I believe they use the Imperial system, any one of those with the... replace the end with LM, so yards are yalms, miles are malms, that sort of thing. Why it's Imperial is beyond me, honestly. Yeah. Doesn't Japan use the metric? Yeah, I'm pretty sure Japan uses the metric system, so kind of beats me. I guess to try and make it feel more Western? That would make sense, I guess. So, there's been no shortage of Western and European influences for a number of places, although a lot of places like a lot of places are entirely different. So, like Razahan is clearly based off India, but has enough differences that it's clearly not India at the same time, if that makes any sense. So, it's definitely some unique stuff. With the help of Coda, of course. Which will veil his mystery. With the help of Coda, of course. By his actions, the fabric was the fabric of the past reshaped, and yet he returns to do the same present as he left. Which can only mean one thing: his intervention in Pandemonium's crisis, but one of countless building blocks of history upon which our present's been built. Dang. There's no telling what consequence would arise if we stop pursuing this matter now. Whatever plots unveiling at Pandemonium, we must not let it reach conclusion. If one of those creatures would escape, what ripples would it carry forth in our future? They might wreak havoc upon the world of the ancients, and their despair would leave an indelible mark on our history's pages. That despair would only feed the terrible beasts that arose during those final days. The first final days already had a drastic effect on the eons that followed. If the scars that left were made even deeper, we risk losing our present entirely. Whatever the cost, our connection with the future of Elpis must be preserved. You know I've asked much of you already, but can I count on your continued work in Pandemonium? I say, of course. Your tireless efforts are much appreciated. If there is aught to do to ease your burden, you need only say the word. Speaking of which, might you return the crystal to our keeping? While we cannot accompany the past, there's perhaps something can be gained from researching it further on our end. Yeah, you guys are a lot better for that sort of thing than me. I'm much better at smacking stuff with sharp, pointy objects until they stop moving. It shines as splendidly as the day we first met. We shall begin work right away, but I can't promise any meaningful results. And as matters in Elpis seem in a similar state, I must ask that you rest. Before that, allow me to make an introduction. As our research moves to a critical stage, I found it only suitable to recruit another assistant. Millenny is an expert in armaments throughout history, and though they are far-flung or made from the most modern forges, should you find your interest in your adventures, bring it here and she'll be glad to offer services. We know researchers in numerous fields that would love to get their hands on artifacts from bygone eras, and would receive you goods in return should you aid you in trials ahead. Furthermore, if you ever wish to pursue records you have compiled here, Nemeji has been taking faithful and thorough notes. She is at your complete disposal. Alright, so basically they're the one we speak if we need to get a recap on the events that happen here. I sense we've embarked on something monumental, something that will dwarf all else I've accomplished in my many years of research. I can think of no greater honor, no reassurance that you have than to have your capable assistance in this endeavor. If there's anything profound that will contribute to success, we will find it. Then we shall not rest until we've unlocked the mysteries of the crystal. And you shall be the first to know when we do. Coda, let me thank you personally for your contribution to our research. Your stories of the ancients' creations have planted the seeds for a great many theories, and I cannot wait for them to flourish. Okay, this unlocks Savage, I believe. Professor Claudian's asked me to write detailed records of our investigation. If you don't mind staying a while, I'll ask you to tell me more of your adventures in the past. Adventures that started with the mysterious crystal, seemingly containing a message declaring crisis and pandemonium. Of course, Professor Claudian will eventually make a report, but we are deficient on concrete facts at the moment. To that end, I suppose a comprehensive catalog of the beasts you encountered would be a fine starting point. Yes, I require every gory detail, every hair, every description. MGG, I brought the volumes you asked for, but are you quite certain we need all this in your research of the crystal? Some of these habitats of aquatic life forms, Mythos and Folklore of the Phoenix, for example, seem to have little bearing on the subject. In fact, many of these tomes seem to relate creatures Coda spoke of. Surely have better things to do with our time. Coda's already encountered and subdued them. What could further insight offer? What they're capable of, maybe? On the contrary, Rusina, we would be remiss in our duty as academics not to take every opportunity to learn more of these subjects. To view the creatures in bygone times through the lens of modern science is a dream few have a chance to achieve. Of course, I'll not decide personal interest in the matter as well. As I thought. While there were relevant volumes for me to fulfill your request this once, if you wish to state your appetite for knowledge again, might you do so on your own time? Shall we proceed? Tell me everything you remember, please. Do not spare. I don't easily frighten, you may be assured. Now we start with your battle with the warder. Okay. Transformed warder. I'd also like to hear the key word of his nature's metamorphosis. Good. Thank you for this priceless information. Well, I'm disappointed I couldn't behold your foes with my own eyes. Your stories have given me more to write, thorough descriptions. Perhaps we should also include basic theories concerning the growth and behavior. That would give our catalogs some flavor, wouldn't you agree? We could start with I have it. Aquatic life forms over time have been observed to grow sizes and magnitude larger than larval forms. In fact, it may not be so preposterous to posit the hippocampus you encounter is merely the larval forms like massive. Oh, don't look at me like some sort of mad magus. Breakthroughs have always been precipitate on wilder theories than that. As the professor says, we mustn't let logic stand in the way of brilliance. Still proven one way or the other, every hypothesis is a valid one. Has nothing quite like the ambrosia of inspiration. Are we making records or creating fairy tales here? As long as I make note of the margins of my records indicating that as a theory is unproven, we can let our imaginations wild. It's just that you needn't be a searcher to have an idea that leave its mark on generations. Savage. Dang, it's expensive to go Razahan, but I have more than enough cash for it, that's for sure. Now, first things first, I need to repair my gear because I've just been through all these. I'll clean up my inventory later, I guess. What did I go here for again? Oh, yes, all the Radiant Host, because we're going to be doing Storm Clouds Brewing. I don't need to do anything right now with exchange any tomes or anything at the moment. I could just sprint here, but where's the fun in that? Alright, now for role quests. Melee. DPS. Limsa Delegate. Ensure you aid in dealing with a grave threat back home. Coda, on behalf of Admiral I thank you for your many deeds in service to Limsa. On behalf of our people, I thank you for your efforts in delivering the star from catastrophe. Unfortunately, we've received troubling tidings that beasts akin to those that plagued Razan have been sighted in the Lanoshan coast. The admirals mustered the Maelstrom in hopes of quelling the threats, yet there's much we don't understand about our foe, and as such, your expertise would be a great boon to us. Will you help us? I will, of course, I'll do all I can. Excellent. The Admiral will be heartened to have your knowledge and martial prowess on our side. Of that I'm certain. Race set sail for Limson as soon as you're able. The Secretary at the Maelstrom will command you upon your arrival. What job is this person? Samurai. What's his outfit here? Late Allegan armor. I think Late Allegan... Yeah, I believe that's from a PvP reward. Far from free. So I need healers to do that one. Good Onion, what's this one? Tank. Probably going to do Gunbreaker or Dark Knight for that one. Healer, it's probably going to be Astrologian or Sage, depending on which one I end up liking more. Probably Astro, since it has some more emergency buttons, but we'll see. Icky Souls, Red Mage is definitely going to be doing this one. Physical ranged, probably Dancer. Unfortunately, I've fallen out with Bard and Machinist for a while, so... Might as well update the title here. I'll have to remember to do that after I finish the stream as well. For now, I'll have to go to the Aft Castle. Honestly, I probably would have done this while I was leveling, like I did during Shadowbringers if it was available right away like it was there, but here the fact it was added basically after the halfway point, after level 85, made me put it off until now, basically. Our man at Razahan was told us to expect you. I'll inform the Admiral of your arrival. The Admiral herself, and... Glad you could join us, Coda. I only wish it was under better circumstances. The grave news from the Bounty has not escaped our ears. I can scarce begin to imagine the horrors you've witnessed there. Though you and the Scions have averted the final days, blasphemies continue to appear in certain regions, Vilbrand being among them. I believe this dialogue changes based on whether you've completed the main story or not. Tell them what we know. The first report came in a few days ago. One of our men patrolling Skull Valley. He spoke of a fearsome creature, unlike any native. But we had our suspicions. It was only later the connection to the final days was confirmed by the most unlikely source, the Sahagin. They've been treating their temperate for a while now, and many have made a full recovery. Owing to this, some factions were eager to improve diplomatic relations with Limsa. One such faction has provided the most comprehensive reports in all alarming detail. They speak of a most dreadful sight, their spawn brothers transforming into horrific beasts before their very eyes. Indeed, it is far too similar to the incidents at Razat-Han to be a mere coincidence. If our assumptions are correct, the first and most formidable of these beasts, the blasphemy, as was decided to call them, prowls our waters as we speak. We may have been spared the final days, but so long as this abomination remains to carry us, we cannot truly say the storm is past. Fortunately, there have been no sightings of it within the city. Nevertheless, if we're to spare our people the horror that befell, the fiend must be dealt with and quickly. Despite our investigative efforts, we remain very much in the dark as to the precise nature of the threat we face. Were we to recklessly dispatch large numbers of troops, we'd run the risk of having our own men corrupted. You can well imagine the carnage then would ensue. As such, the Admiral decided to keep those involved to a minimum and lead the investigation herself. Now to have you at my side, what say you? Leave it to me. You have my thanks. We shall depart at once to meet with our Sahagin allies and gather what knowledge we can, though we might devise a proper plan of attack. They're due to arrive in South Tide Gate. I'll go on and wait for you there. I'm really glad they decided to add flying in the launch area, the Realm Reborn areas. I was saying before, the stuff that Heidelin did was, I'm guessing that's what I'm about to fight right now. It's well past our agreed-upon meeting time, but the Sahagin are nowhere to be seen. They did not seem the sort to break their word. This bodes ill. Let's leave the place of the gods and search the Halfstone for any sign of them. Oh, what is this thing? Null is in danger. Quickly to his aid. I guess she's just gonna shoot that one while I go over here. Of A5, yeah, this... Let's aid him the best we can. Many thanks, Shorewalker. Pray tell, is my companion safe? Yeah, Millweb is protecting him right now. The Admiral herself comes to our aid. Good tidings indeed. You two have my boundless gratitude. Let's quit this place before the beasts return. Sharknado. Everyone's still alive? Good. But not if we stay here for too long. Inside, quickly. Thank you, my friends. Those ghastly beasts would have made short work of us if you had not intervened. And it has brought me no joy to watch them die, for unbelievable as it may seem until a short while ago, they are none other than my very own spawn brothers. At first we thought them merely cursed, but our talismans and magics avail us not. Aye, 'twas no curse, 'twas an evil like no other. Innocent souls transformed in their will into unholy beasts called blasphemies. As for me, so tell us more. That'll be your area of expertise, Coda. Alright, so basically if someone ever falls too deeply into despair, they get transformed into witches. The beast by the power of despair. This is horrifying indeed. Thus far, the phenomenon here in La Noscia has been limited to Sahagin. Why is that? I cannot say, yet I wonder if the crushing tide are involved in some way. I know not of this crushing tide. Word of them has yet to reach you, I see. It all began with the Indigo Matriarchs. The queen of Arcane was stricken with a grave malady. She got sick. Tragic as this was, there was one small solace. She was not fond of shore walkers, and so deprived of her leadership, more of my kind came to see wisdom in making peace with Limsa. There remain, of course, those who would oppose our cause. They formed a group called the Crushing Tide. Even now, they seek to summon the Lord of the War anew, consuming all finless ones in the briny deep. However, they lacked the crystals necessary. Denied power, they did not but gnash their teeth in desperation. And you suspect those feelings of helplessness cause transformations? Just so. Those of our spawn brothers who turned into beasts have been fraternizing with the Crushing Tide. Despite our differences, we cannot abandon our kin to such a cruel fate. Yet we must be careful not to drive them into deeper despair. Yes, we must consider the situation carefully, lest we bring destruction upon all our kind. Tell me, are the Crushing Tide even now under Leviathan's thrall? If freed from the downstate, would they listen to reason? Were it only so simple. All but a few were long since cured. They walk this path of free will. In that case, they may yet be dissuaded from the present course. For the sake of our nascent alliance, we will do all we can to save your brethren. Muleweb has probably had the biggest character arc of all the leaders, because when you first meet her in Realm Reborn, she she dealt with a lot of harsh but necessary truths. I mean, she was the one who made the deal with the Sahagin and kobolds of the area, and then intentionally broke it in order to get more land, saying that when drowning, you sometimes have to use others for flotation. Cruel but understandable where she's coming from, but she's since tried to fix things, which makes sense. I mean, when the world is about to end, there's not much you can really do about that. At the same time, it's easy to see why the Sahagins are holding a grudge, because The Limson Lominsons made peace and then immediately broke out the moment it was convenient for them. What stops them from doing that again? Fortunately, a most capable ally stands with us, for this man has bested a formidable foe, including Leviathan. Ah, the great Cody in the flesh. Honor to my hand to stay in your presence. Together we will weather this storm, usher in a new age of harmony, this I swear. There's much to be done. For now, let's return to our homes and prepare best we can for the trials ahead. Should we discover aught of value, we'll be sure to share it with you. I ask that you do the same. Indeed we shall. Until such time, I watch over my spawn brothers and pray no more succumb to the challenge. Oh yeah, another thing Shadowbringer's role quest had over this is they directly said you need to do these in order to complete the main story. And indeed, you did need to complete at least one in order to beat the main story. But here, these are completely optional. I'll be doing all of them, especially since there likely is going to be another combined quest once you finish them all off. However, that's going to be a while, especially since I'm still trying to decide which healer or tank I am preferring this expansion. Like I said, I'm actually having quite a bit of fun with Gunbreaker, and I'm very much enjoying a Sage as well, although I do dislike not having any emergency heal buttons. Obviously, White Mage is best for that, but Astro has a good number of ones of their own. Welcome back. Thanks to you, Anal, I now possess an understanding of the challenge we face. It is a daunting task that is before us. We'll continue to cooperate with Saga and learn all we can. Once we've located the blasphemy, I'll have need of your strength. Till then, ask you remain at the ready. Clearly, storm crowds have only begun to gather. Crushing Tide. The Secretariat has recent developments to share. Your timing could not be better. The Admiral's just this moment returned from our meeting with Sahagan. I shall inform her of your arrival. Ah, Coda, I'm glad you're here. We've decided on the next course of action. As you know, we face two distinct but interconnected challenges. The transformations occurring in the Sahagan may be one, but the blasphemy itself is a root to the problem. Thus far, those who succumb have been affiliated with the Crushing Tide who continue to resist. Were we to put a stop to the phenomenon, as well as address grievances, we may yet have a chance of peace. To that end, I would propose a double-pronged approach. On one front, we shall work in tandem with our Sahagan allies to redouble our patrols. Should the blasphemy surface, we will share this knowledge and move immediately to dispatch it. At the same time, we pursue dialogue with the Crushing Tide. We need to bring them back to the negotiating table and see what can be done to convince them to stand down. A key point will no doubt be a lingering issue of securing land for their spawning grounds, which is a discussion I intend to approach with an open mind. It will be no easy task. We succeeded with the kobolds, and I have faith that we will succeed in the Sahagan as well, as long as we parlay in good faith. I can only hope the Crushing Tide will share that sentiment. You're wise to temper your expectations, but I would not abandon hope ere we try. At any rate, Null has sent one word, the Dao. That one Dao, a priest who styles himself a leader of the Crushing Tide, has grudgingly agreed to hear us out. I will parlay with him face to face at the spawning grounds, and would have you at my side, if you do not object, that is. Excellent. In that case, pray join me south of Taiga when you're ready. From there, we will go together. By the way, I do like that the tome gear here is based off Final Fantasy IV. I believe this is based off Arcane, the Dragoon, anyways. Of course, it is a bit silly since I'm a Reaper and not Dragoon, but hey, most gear is going to be for Dragoons. Likewise, Machinists typically have to deal with the fact a lot of the range DPS gear was made for... Well, no, there's some cowboy stuff as well for Machinists. Not just Bard-themed gear. Although I guess Dancer also can share Bard's gear without it seeming too out of place, since, you know, they're both all about performances. Come to think of it, the Dynamis actually does explain where the powers of, like, Dancers and Bards come from. Like, when you first join the Dancer faction here... When you first learn Dancer, they tell you the tale of a dance of death, a strange phenomenon that forces people to dance until they die of exhaustion, and likewise, they never really explain what it's from, since it's not specifically a person behind it, but specific events. And so you use a dancer powers, which they also don't directly explain. But Dynamis being behind it all actually does explain it rather well. For a more direct explanation, for a more direct example, Dark Knight has the Mughals tell you that your Dark Knight, while Dark Knights like to be all brooding and angry and all that, passion and stuff is great, but the power of the dark magic comes from is any emotion, including love and compassion. I thought that was pretty neat, and it also does mean that, yeah, the Dark Knight's magic does have Dynamis involved to some extent. And of course, the big revelation that the Limit Break was Dynamis from the start is actually pretty interesting. I can understand. I guess going back to Idol, I can understand why some people feel that she did some morally questionable stuff by splitting the worlds and not trying to find a way to save her own world, but like I said, seemingly utopian societies always have some sort of crack that either they can't see or refuse to see. And in this case, I think they refuse to see it since Hermes directly brought up that anytime he tried to bring up his thoughts and problems, people just blew him off, basically, saying it's nothing to worry about. And it explains why he didn't really want to share much information about his personal project. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if the majority of the people at Elpis had their own personal projects going. But more than that, because it works with emotion stuff, the others would think it's kind of boring or not interesting or not worth worrying about. So I can see why he'd think it's better to do it all on his own. But yeah, the fact he didn't have anyone else look at it was one of the main things that caused downfall. But like I said, I firmly believe that if it wasn't Hermes, someone else would have caused something similar. And an end to the Ancients' world was going to happen sooner or later. As it does with any seemingly utopian society. That's just how it goes. For those who aren't aware, the very name of Utopia is based off the fact that it can't exist. All prepared, are you? Dao is not known for his patience. We must take care not to incur his ire. I was told he'd be at the spawning grounds, but it appears he's been delayed. Let's speak with the Sagahaga in here. Maybe one of them... one of them... we'll be able to shed light on what may be keeping him. Oh, one more thing. I come here as a representative of Linson diplomatic mission. Should the talks deteriorate, I cannot be seen to blade my hands. I trust you understand. Oh, this is an escort mission. They have mentioned that they're going to edit these escort missions to allow you to teleport if it's in a town and something. Which I do very much appreciate, and... yeah, while these guys are hostile, they won't attack anyone 10 levels above them. Which I am... well above, as you can clearly see. So there's really no need to worry about this here. There's a lot of fates here because this is a Beast Tribe quest area. During Realm Reborn, you could tell they didn't exactly entirely know what they wanted. Like, yeah, here it is. So they didn't entirely know how they wanted to handle Beast Tribe quests, so they mostly made there a specific area with the enemy socket strong. Yeah, this is the enemy faction that you help fight to help the ones here work with. And basically, that's basically the reputation farming for this game. What is this? Since when are our shorewalkers free to intrude upon our sacred spawning grounds? Pray, forgive our inclusion. We seek an audience with the Tao. Where might we find? You'll do no such thing. We have not forgotten what you did to Leviathan. Now be gone. Won't get much out of this one. Let's try elsewhere. Why do you trespass upon our domain? I mean no harm. We come here to parley. Master Dao, where we might find him. We desire no parley with shorewalkers who steal our home. Were it not for your selfishness, we saw him grow and flourish. Your grievances are justified. That's why I wish to speak with him. Before his peaceful solution. Empty words for the thieveful shorewalker, but so be it. Soon you shall learn the futility of efforts. Speaker Dao is currently overseeing security at spawning grounds. You'll find him by the entrance. So mark my words, you'll wish you hadn't. You'll see. Thank you for your aid. Yeah, like I said, the main key factor here is that Limsa made the deal with the Sagan and the Kobolds to begin with, and then broke it themselves, which, Yeah, you absolutely can't blame them for not exactly being thrilled at the idea of doing it again. Shorewalkers are spawning grounds. To what do I owe the displeasure? Speaker Dow, I presume. I apologize for entering your home unannounced. I am Muleweb, Chief Admiral, and this is Coda. You come so you can parley, though we might strive for peace. Parley, you say? Prolonging this conflict any further will only lead to the suffering. The menace both our people face is grave indeed. If ever there was a time to start decide our differences and come together, it's now. I invite you to join the South Tide Gate for formal. Shorewalkers to Hagen. What assurance do I have you will not let our gills the moment we step foot within your territory? I cannot offer. We open our gates to you and invite to our home as a show respect. Skeptical, I can't understand. I do not trust you, Shorewalker, but let it never be said that Dow the Crushing Tide's a coward. I accept your offer, but any attempt at treachery, your people will drown in their own blood. Very well, I look forward to a productive discussion. Let's return then. I shall send word to Null as well. I'll have our Sahagin allies join us in the parley. Know this, Shorewalker. I come not because your words sway me, but to show my spawn brothers that Dow is no coward. Yeah, basically he's doing it entirely keep up his own appearances. Well, whatever we can. Oh, at this point, we're not in a position to be picky. Thank you for joining us here, Master Dow. The air here seconds me. Be brief. Aye, let's get straight to the heart of the matter. A common threat looms above us, one more powerful than any primal, with the potential to bring death without end to both Sagan and Lummensin alike. These circumstances call for swift and united action. You doubt our intentions, but I remind you we've liberated many of your kin from Leviathan's enthrallment. They and countless others have joined us of their own free will, but we may ensure the survival of both of our peoples. Aye, by their deeds have the Lummensis proven themselves worthy of our trust. Master Dow, you and the Crushing Tide want only to secure our future of our people. I say this can only be done by confronting this threat together. Threats? What is this threat you speak of? If his unity craves, submit yourself to our command. Be as the Serpent Reavers, they are only shorewalkers I deign to call friend. You ask us to willingly surrender ourselves to your Lord of the Wall. I do, for that and that alone will ensure peace between us. Oh, preposterous, you propose not alliance with servitude. This way lies nothing but death for all Sahagin. Yeah, all that really does is reverse the issue. It'll just make the Sahagins the oppressive ones on the other side. That's not going to solve the issue, just kick the can down the road, so to speak. You hear this, my spawn brother? Shorewalker has stolen this one's mind. He decries the Leviathan, espouses the lunacy of our sworn foes. These treacherous wretches have abandoned our god and conspire to drive the faithful from our ancestral home. We must not let it stand. For shame, forsaken, they side with the finless ones and blaspheme Lord Leviathan. They steal our spawning grounds, slaughter our children, our future, our future! Behold, this blessing Leviathan grants us greater and greater strength. Call this a blessing? Such horrors, flee for your lives! The beast makes for Aleport. I leave this place to you. Splendid. Let all Spawn Brothers be blessed with such power. Oh, so he's causing it. Well, this thing is absolutely no threat to me, I can tell you that now. Then again, the witches were never a threat to the protagonist. The problem is I can't protect everyone. I can only be in one place at a time. And no matter how... You okay, Null? This is the second time you saved my life. My gratitude is boundless to the sea. But what of the Admiral? We must go to her aid. Okay, she got it. I'm guessing she pointed her gun and shot it until it died. What a horror. Oh, what a horrific sight. Oh dear. I was too late. I'm sorry. There's no need for apologies. You are not responsible for my people's plight. What I cannot fathom is Dow's response. He was pleased he was to see his brothers become slavering beasts. The fool believes this is a blessing from Leviathan. Any effort for a peaceful solution will be lost should Dow and his crushing tide manage to wield these transformations as a weapon. Honestly, I'm pretty sure that if he tries to wield these as a weapon, he's just going to end up destroying himself. Which, granted, will solve the problem, since that means they'll be defeated, but the problem is anyone else caught in the crossfire. Besides, we shouldn't hate him just because he's our enemy. Like I said, he has no guarantees that the Linsa Lominsons won't just break the peace treaty like they did before, so it's not like he's doing... It's not like he is enjoying bloodshed or anything. He's just doing this because he feels he feels this is the best way to allow them to find a place to live. Sure, the very thought. And yet the truth that the blasphemy is still out there, yes? Just so, the first ones to transform are those who fall in the deepest depths of despair. The more painful their anguish, the more fearsome and formidable they become in their bestial forms, the greater their influence over others. We can scarcely hope to stand against a legion of such foes. Would that my people could do more to help. I will have the Maelstrom patrol the seas, with me slate with due haste, but this may be well amount to naught. If the blasphemy too was born from a Sahagin, it could be sheltering in the depths beyond the reach of our ships. In that case, please allow my Spawn Brothers and I to serve as your eyes beneath the sea. Thank you, Null. Through our combined efforts, we may yet weather this threat. As for your brothers who gave their lives today, I shall see that they are returned home and be laid to rest as they deserve. You have my gratitude, Admiral. And with that, we shall return as well. There's much to be done, and I see it done quickly. Reaper's just a really fun job. I just need to remember Solso. That's entirely on me, I guess, although it is a bit annoying that I can only really use it once a fight. I mean, you did see me try and use it during one of the boss's ultimates. I guess during a trial fight, like a Zodiac or Hydaelyn ultimate, I probably could, but that's only twice the entire run, which is a little annoying. And it's a bit... I also admit it's a bit annoying to have to mark enemies. Although I do get the logic. When they were designing the job, they probably figured, well, most DPS jobs, they rely on buffing, keeping up a specific buff to keep their damage up. Let's have Reaper do the opposite, focusing on keeping a specific debuff on the enemy. And in a way, they did kind of have that with the Dark Knight, where they used to mark an enemy where they took enhanced damage from the party, and if they died, the Dark Knight would get stuff. In fact, that's a big reason why a lot of bosses in Heaven's Ward, and I think even Stormblood had add phases, even if they didn't necessarily need it, but they did drop it, the skill eventually. I think it was Shadowbringers when they finally dropped it, but I don't remember. They might have even dropped it in Stormblood. Because, yeah, because of the skill like that required specifically enemies to die with it, but here the Reaper has... While they can get soul gauge if the target dies before the timer expires, they also can get the gauge from the regular attacks and stuff. So it is not a big deal if a boss has no add phase. The Reaper will still get their meter just fine. But honestly, I think the support is actually what what kind of tips Reaper over to me, because I thought it would be a selfish DPS job like Samurai or Monk. And I'd be fine with that, but no, they're actually pretty good support. Arcane Crest gives the party a heal in exchange for breaking a bubble, which usually happens during raid-wide damage or stack markers, which is especially good because that means there's other people taking damage who'd appreciate the heal. And Arcane Circle. Now this is definitely a favorite here because not only does it make my teammates stronger because I use it, but it also makes them give me stacks that basically amounts to a free use of Enshroud, my super mode. So basically it makes my teammates stronger, and in turn they give me my super mode at the same time by capitalizing on it. So yeah, that is a mutually beneficial skill, and I love that layers like that. It just encourages team synergy, like, really well. Like that. Really well. Oh, we've returned. The Admiral is just briefing me on the events of the spawning grounds. Ah, Kodo, sharing our findings. You see, the danger is exactly as the Sagan described. While Dao and his ilk have no means of forcibly triggering the phenomenon of the present, it is plain they intend to seek one out. Redouble our efforts to patrol and inform me at the first sign of anything out of the ordinary. It shall be done, Admirable. I worry we may be stretching ourselves thin. Should the situation take a turn for the worse, I recall it Corps of Garlemont. Yet I reserve that as a last resort. For now, I must get to work securing reinforcements. Ask you to remain close by. That we may have meet for strength very soon. Secretariat appears to have been waiting for you. The Admiral left a message, and the message is not good. Appears Lominson merchant ship was attacked by Sahagan's raiding party filled with crushing tide. To further complicate matters, the vessel was carrying a shipment of crystals used by the kobolds. The Admiral suspects Dao means to use them to summon Leviathan. She's gone to meet with you, and our Sahagan allies might make swift after him. She bids you join her immediately. Should the worst come to worst, your experience in combating primals may prove essential. Pray make the South Gate. Do 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 do. Dang, it's hard to believe how small these Realm Reborn maps are compared to before. I think I mentioned before, but... Well, I think I mentioned before, but I care more about what's in a map rather than, how big it is. As long as it's not wasted, like, when I played Warcraft, I actually found one of my favorite areas in the game was Northrend, which I believe is actually one of the smaller areas in all the expansions, but it felt like no inch of it was wasted. It all felt pretty... so it felt a lot bigger than it really was. And I guess for this game, Razat Han is a good example, because I think that's one of the smaller areas, but it doesn't have any wasted space. Although I guess if I had to choose a least favorite area, I'd probably say Labyrinthos, just because it feels like we barely do anything in it. I mean, early on, yeah. Actually, can I find it here? Yeah. Yeah, Labyrinthos. We do get some pretty neat stuff in here, I'll say that much. But once we get around here, most of this is during filler stuff, where clearly, okay, we need to buy time until we go to the final battle here, and then the interesting stuff happens in this inner circle. This outer one, as you may recall, I even looked at to try and find an ether current in there, but there wasn't one, which was rather annoying. And all the calming seas. Oh, it looks like you gained a title since I last saw you. Glad to see you're moving up in the world and all. It's good to see you safe, friend. Thank you for coming, Coda. The situation is grim. The crushing tide plundered one of our trading ships and seized a goodie stash of crystals. Though their aim is clear, it appears they yet lack the quantity needed to perform a summoning. Now longs to the days when every Sahuagin cried out for Lord Leviathan's deliverance and will stop at nothing to see them return. I cannot fathom what the crushing tide are thinking. What satisfaction, what happiness can be found in giving over their hearts and minds to the false god. Okay, so yeah, they've been made aware that the summonings are false. This Leviathans. The true Leviathan is in the Ethereal Sea, I'd imagine. And so we must thwart their designs, lest the bonds we have forged be forever broken. By the same token, we cannot ignore the blasphemy of those transformations its presence may bring about. Battle on two fronts, neither of which we can commit at the expense of the other. As we sail into the eye of the storm, I would hear a counsel. What course of action would you propose? I would take the three great pirates. Let's recruit Yellow Jackets. Sounds like a job for the Company of Heroes. Company of Heroes? Now that's a name I've not heard in some time. It is true they answered the call many a time, and indeed, other than you and yours, they're arguably none better suited to the task of primal slaying, but they've disbanded over 5 years ago, and neither hide nor hair has been seen of their commander since. Absent their leader, I suspect they'd be reluctant to join their cause. And I can think of no better option. I'll contact Whiskat, their erstwhile commander's right-hand man, and see if they will not hear us out. Ask him to meet us at the Drowning Wench. Let us hope he's receptive to our offer. I'm gonna be honest, I only barely remember what the Company of Heroes were. No, might interest in your brothers continue search in the meantime. Of course, should we discover anything, you'll be the first to know. If I had to guess, I think that their leader is keeping it hidden. I'll reach out to see if he's willing to meet the Drowning Wench. Yeah, the Yellow Jackets are the main police force, and I'm pretty sure they've already been put to the cause here. Not to mention that, they have to keep an eye out for anyone in town who falls to despair and becomes one of the witches. And likewise, as nice as the 3 great pirates are, I'm pretty sure they already are helping out to the best of their ability as well. That's why I figure the Company Heroes seems like the last one. We're right outside. Destination awaits. I might need to get a haircut after this. My apologies for the delay. You're alone? And here I swore 5 years ago I was done playing hero. Yeah, these were the ones who helped us out during the battle with Titan. Can someone explain what this is all about? Believe it or not, I'm a respectable man with respectable obligations these days. Take the polearm out of your old friend. Stop pretending you're not still a murderer. This bastard are. What a wicked tongue of yours. Old wound. Less size. Accurate and prove you right. Ah, nothing like a reunion with my dear companions over a bottle of the wench's finest vintage. That is why we're here, right? Brave Floxen. Long time no eye catch, Uplanders. Brave Floxen's tummy tickled to see gobby friends again. Thank you for assembling on such short notice. Spare us the pleasantries, Admiral. Why are we here? I make a simple request. Reform the Company of Heroes and lend Lindsay your strength. You have a reason, I'm sure. I'd like to hear it. Alright, so when people fall in despair, they become these creatures called witches, and those are way too powerful for us to handle on our own. So there you have it. A terrible friend known as Blasphemy prowls our seas, transforming some Hagen into ravaging beasts. At the same time, the Hagen themselves, specifically a hostile faction calling themselves Crushing Tide, has declared their intention to summon Leviathan anew. Should they succeed, we'd be hard-pressed to deal with the Primal while dealing with the other threats as well. A right pickle indeed. The answer is no. The commander disbanded the company as his first mate. It's not my place to stay his final order. Ah, screw that, I say. Have you forgotten the company's creed? Duty the strong is to protect the weak. And the people are now in danger. Not the same men and women who fought to defend years ago. The commander would not have turned his back on them, and neither would we. Bold words, Mandinal. But do you truly believe we can honor them as we are? Old mercenaries past their prime, lacking the commander whose wisdom and prowess once saw them glory? Ah yes, your commander. What if Coda were to lead you in his stead? Surely you would not question his abilities. Ah? An intriguing proposition. I, for one, would not be averse to serving under a decorated hero. Colby friend has goodly head for fight, he think, and goodly arms for thinky fight. As ringing as endorsement as any. But here from the man himself. Do you believe you're capable? And better a battle than a banquet. Still nursing that grudge, are we? I suppose we still owe you a dozen favors. If you're willing to lead, we'll follow. 5 years of the day. Truth be told, I was enjoying the more leisurely life. But when duty calls... wait, before we proceed, I must ask. Have we know of reaching the commander? Forgotten how he took his leave, have we? Up and vanishing so that we could each find our way apart from him in the company. I doubt we'll see him again, much as I wish we could. That matter of hand, the missions you will undertake. First, you aid us in tracking the blasphemy that roams the sea. Second, you must prevent the crushing tide from summoning Leviathan at all costs. Oh, was that all? And here we thought we might get our feet wet with real challenge. But all seriousness, we should take care to decide who attends what. Sounds like a job for our acting commander. I am sure he'll give it all due consideration. Westacate may be skeptical, but I have little doubt you'll prove a worthy commander. Greyflox happily gives hen landing to Uplander. Greyflox we've actually helped a couple times in a dungeon of land she owns. The Illuminati, a group of evil goblins, stole a cheese recipe from her, and so we had to take out their big tank. Just think twice before assigning me to the same group as and then I don't know what's worse, his tendency to wave his lance in people's faces, or all the shouting and blustering he engages while doing so. Having finished with the logistical nonsense, I'm eager for a taste of old violence. So if I understand this correctly, we're to bring down the so-called blasphemy. Of course, to do that, we need to find the damn thing first. We've also got to prevent the crushing tide from summoning their god Leviathan, a tall order in and of itself. As acting commander, it's your job to decide who will be doing what based on what skills we each have to offer. I recommend you start by chatting with each so that you might develop a sense of strengths and weaknesses. Mostly strengths and storied veterans under your command. My specialty, impaling fiends with a lance of gore. Stronger the foe the better, none are a match for me. It would be folly to waste my talents dealing with those slippery fishermen. Send me against so-called blasphemy, and I'll have the thing on a skewer before it gets a Merwib's name. Yeah, it seems like your focus is definitely on combat here. A wise choice. Send F the Saga, and he's likely to help them summon Leviathan to save his bloodlust. I speak plain. I'm not some battle-crazed barbarian like Daniel. As the none of the U, a tribe of peerless hunters, I conduct my affairs with discipline and prudence. As such, I know better than any to rush in headlong battles rarely with the best course of action. Far wiser to observe from afar and proceed with caution. Prevent the primal summoning. Very astute, if I say so myself. There's few better at this task of averting needless bloodshed than a famously circumspect nun. Yeah. As you well know, my vision is somewhat lacking these days. I can still defend myself, but I'd rather not come to that. My condition also leaves me rather unsuited to scouting and searching. It wasn't always the case, but such is life. On the other hand, I think I've gotten quite good about sounding out the intention of others during negotiations. Like... preventing the primal summoning sounds better, then. You have a keen sense for things, I see. More so than reconnaissance or battle, Amani has a knack for working behind the scenes to see the company's goals achieved. Greyflox, master remaker of the Illuminati's treasures, offer much hand-lending with ingenuity. Parsing spyglass far and ocean beat. Crackfires go boom and blast beast at tiny bitty pieces. Yeah, it looks like you'd be a good partner to work with Landell there. A logical choice if I say so myself. Greyflox's mastery of tools and armaments are sure to avail you in tracking and felling the beast. But it seems everyone has their assignments. I dare say the choices you made are nay impeccable. If I didn't know better, I think you'd been leading us for years. And with that, it's time we got to work. I have procured link pearls for one and all, and we can keep each other appraised of our progress. You may pick them up from the Maelstrom Command. We'd best be off then. Should we need to regroup or reconsider our strategy, call for us. I'll return to command and share these developments with the Secretariat and our Sahuagin friends. Do join me if you can, Commander Coda. Oh dang, am I playing as Lane now? Storm Runner? What? Admiral Bonus tasked me with overseeing communications between you and the company of heroes. First, we need a link pool. Please speak with the Secretariat. I've just finished briefing the Secretariat. She has something you should find useful. Ah, Coda, the Admiral has apprised me of the situation in full. Varnish Coda with the link pearl, yes? Of course, Admiral. It seemed the company's trying to reach us. Code there, Commander. Just give the word and I'll come running. Hello, warrior. Damn. Will ya? Watch your tongue, or I'll track you down and rip yours. You sound more like mortal enemies than old companions. That's where Coda comes in. I'm trusting you to whip them back into shape. Make them a force to be reckoned with. All the Secretariat contact you if there are any developments. I would convey them the entire company by lurk pearl, but we can't afford anyone taking reckless action. In the meantime, I would reach out to Null and see what he's gleaned about the crushing tide in their hideout. Let's hope for good tidings, Commander. Oh, interesting. So I'm getting one quest per level, so there's 5 quests in all. Grave news, Coda. We've just received word that Candlekeep Quay is under attack. We've seen the crushing tide struck again. Admiral asks you to deploy the Company of Heroes. Our man Hero asks your signal. Company of Heroes awaiting your orders. Candlekeep Quay? All those should be nearby. What are your instructions? Lionel's a hot-headed warrior who lives for battle, while Aldo's calm and calculating hunter. Both can serve you well, but better if you assign task each of their skills. Alright, Landaniel needs to drive those things away. Consider it done, Commander. Alda, keep the residents to safety. Understood. The rest of us will head there at once. I'll tell the Admiral you and the Company of Heroes are on your way. Godspeed. Orby Dry Docks. I'm glad they're making use of the Realm Reborn areas like this. This is really nice that they continue to make use of these places. Kept us waiting long enough. Not that I'm complaining. More fishermen for me to skewer. Is that all? I was just getting warmed up. Greyflock's treasures go boom, blast fishy men to bits. Good to know my colleagues haven't grown rusty in the years since we disbanded. Worry not, the tide's already ebbed if you follow my meaning. Looks like I assigned them well then. Perhaps you're curious as to how your men carried out your orders. You'll be pleased to hear Landinal led the attack with his characteristic aplomb and danced amongst the foes with such speed and ferocity that were dazzling to watch. Odin made full use of his talents in leading the rescue efforts. Not a single man, woman, or child suffered as much as a scratch. I imagine this is just the only difference is flavor text, but still neat. I had my doubts at first, but you passed your first trial as acting captain with flying colors. Battle's over, I see. 'Tis good to see the company of heroes can still live up to its name. I demand answers. Why did you target Candlekeep Quay? I spare your questions, filthy Shawwalker. I was hoping we might do this the easy way, but if you insist. So you're torturous? You're all the same, savage brutes. Torture, please, we're not so uncivilized as that, my slippery little friend. Greyflock's shiny treasure will have fishermen trading ton flaps in no time. Allow me to explain. Shamani and Brayflocks are well practiced in the art of interrogation. Shamani has a sharp mind, as I'm sure you've noticed, and a knack for getting information out of uncooperative types with a minimum amount of fuss. Brayflocks, her methods can be unconventional to say the least, but it's hard to argue with the results. Well, Commander, the choice is yours to make. Shamani Lamani's my main man. But of course, Commander, watch as I get them talking without so much as lifting a finger. They tell me you're kind of particularly fond of Lenotian oranges. Might interest you in a glass of delightful orange wine brewed from our latest harvest. This is another glass, Sherlock. I demand it in return for the crimes you committed. A mere glass? I mean, how about you a full bottle, an entire cask, if you provide us? The answer as you seek. We have a deal, fine. For a cask of that blissful beverage, I'll tell you all my secrets. Again, I ask, why did you target Candlekeep Quay? Dow himself gave the order, said we must establish a foothold in preparation for assault on the city. These attack limits the limits itself, but with your numbers, that would be folly. Speaker Dow commands power beyond comprehension of you shorewalkers. We've dealt with Leviathan before. We must understand, he says it's a greater power still, the very first being blessed. So that's where the blasphemy's been. How can he control it, though? Tell me where Dow is. An island far to the south and east. There he performs the rite that will summon forth the Divine One and deliver my brother's night of glory. Thank you for your cooperation. I suspect Dow is hiding somewhere in this Khalid. Still delays. On a deserted isle, most likely. I don't know much about the so-called blasphemies, but can they truly be tamed so easily? We have no evidence they can, but we must underoperate on the assumption that Dow's found a way. Yeah, well, it's entirely possible that we could arrive there and he's already been just obliterated by the creature. Or we must assume he has to have some way of achieving what, what's that company from Aliens called, where they keep every single installment they try to control the aliens only to die horribly? Weyland-Yutani, that's right. And we'll be ready at the ship. Set sail at once. Prepare yourselves and meet me at the dock as soon as you're ready. I'll have Shelby and Brayflock to do the interrogation in the meantime. Our friends here might still be hiding something from us. I need to teleport to the dock, so I need to go to the Fisherman's Guild one. Should be easy. Boom. Let's see how this blasphemy likes my axe between its eyes. I don't know how to blaspheme me from the hole in the ground. All I know is I'm ready to kill the bleeding thing. Descent is the enemy's stronghold. Never forget they have the advantage. Everyone's here. Good. We'll make for those in search of Dow's hideout. Our friend Null will be waiting for us. Blasphemy 2 may be present. Be vigilant and keep your weapons at the ready. Oh, Commander, do you have any weapon? Duty of the strong is to protect the weak. It's what got us here in the first place, after all. Alright. We meet again, Doe. Where's the blasphemy? Tell us now that we may end this madness. At least the good news is it doesn't have any brainwashing powers like the tempering primals do. Speak of the bloody devil. There it is, the dread beast I saw beneath the waves. The source of our woes. The Echo? Now of all times? It's going... I see. It's going to give me a vision of what led to this blasphemy. Defend the commander! Oh boy, this is not going to work well. I bring grave tidings, my queen. The wretched shore walkers poison the minds of my spawn brothers, false war with foul magics. Our poor, beleaguered brethren renounce Leviathan in name of false god. They treat with implements that some even call for an alliance. Echo is a burden and, yeah, it's both a blessing and a curse. We must summon him at the loss to might receive his blessing anew. I would gladly use our stock. This I would gladly do had our stock crystals not run dry. Spawning time is nearly upon us, yet you fight and bicker amongst yourselves. How am I to both new brood and my children stand divided? Who dares enter our sacred chamber? Give me my choosing, Queen Mother. I speak of the saga and seek an accord. The new age is upon us. We needn't turn to the false gods nor or foment bitterness with bloodshed in our precious spawning grounds. Shore workers have changed. They endeavor to understand us, to share land. We may east that our spawning and have our spawning grounds. Would this be true? Lies, lies, not be deceived by that one's delusions, my queen. He is a heathen who has stayed strayed from Lord Leviathan's light. But I thought Leviathan had water, not light. Shore walkers are oath breakers, now and forevermore. As they extend the hand of friendship, they clutch a dagger with the other. We are beasts in their eyes, deserving enough to slaughter. Oh, for a blessed moment had the fate and sense of hope. But you are right, Dow. They are demons, and we are damned. Oh, my poor children lost their faith. The minds poisoned by lies. They turn and cast their lot to the enemy. 'Tis so, my queen. We'll have no choice but to abandon our sacred spawning grounds and sink the ocean's floor with rotten decay. And those children, you tell them that we have no future? How can I bring new life in this world, knowing my brood will have their hearts stolen and abandon me? How can I bear this sadness? I cannot. What's happening? My queen, you must calm yourself. Ah. Such power, such beauty, a blessing from Leviathan himself. So this is a blasphemy, huh? I can see what the fuss is all about. But have your wits about you? Good. If you can fight, now is the time. This thing stands no chance. Strike now, my queen. Send the shore workers and their honorless leader to the death. I'm not sure what that is, but I don't think it's... Ooh, that hit everyone. What's happening? I can't feel my legs. It hit everyone in the water, I guess? Admiral's dual gun job. Yeah. Hi, Mother. Are we not your children, too? So he can't properly control it. Damn, we can't weather another blow like the last one. I was wondering why we weren't just attacking the orb. I still don't know when the 7 hills just happened. While we down, I'm gonna go down without a fight. Steady, the beast is feeding off our ether. We will not survive in a head-on fight. Remember, the company stratagem when faced with overwhelming odds. Retreat! Get ourselves the bloody hells out of here. Yeah, it's got a real home field advantage here. It would not be within our best interest to try and fight here, although I probably could win anyways. I see. I guess the only reason... So the beast can't properly be controlled. It's because the person it transformed from had its utmost faith in Nov there. Were the other beasts we faced also once my spawn brothers? I cannot bear the thought. We've no path to victory. When no path to victory can be found, flee and fight another day. It might not be the kind of approach that makes a bard sing your praises, but it's kept us alive, that's for sure. So that was a blasphemy. Intriguing creature. For the first time in many summers, we find ourselves the worthy foe. Face to face with the damn beast, I could barely lift my spear. Next time, mark my words, that fish is gonna pay. Damn it all, we better luck holding back the tide. How'd it go, friends? Is what I'd normally ask, but judging from the muttered cursing, I gather it did not go well. We barely escaped with our lives. To think the beast had such power to stop us in our tracks. Literally. What do we know of the creature's origins? Was it once a hog, and as you suspected? Mayhap the echo afforded Coda some insight. Yeah, it gave us precisely what we need to know. The blasphemy, the witch is in fact the queen herself, falling in despair. Tao's villainy knows no bounds, sowing seeds of despair in our queen mother's heart so that she might transform her that monstrosity. If she was the first to turn, there was nothing deliberate about it. Still, it's clear that his words served as a catalyst. Yeah, I guess it doesn't matter. It's entirely possible he didn't intend for her to transform, but it was a happy accident as far as he's concerned. We kill the blasphemy, it's tantamount to killing the Sagan's queen. That's not going to endear us to them one bit. I cannot turn my spear against the mother who birthed me, let alone take her life. Out of curiosity, does anyone see who fired the shot? Were it not for them, we might all be dead. I know not, but we must formulate a plan quickly. My scouts tell me the blasphemy's left the island, now roams the open sea. I will order them to continue the search. In the meantime, we must overcome the beast's formidable offense. Leave that to us. Time and again, we've used our wits and experience to triumph over the longest odds. To defeat your enemy, you must first know your enemy. Tell me, Commander, what do you reckon was the most valuable knowledge we gleaned from this encounter? Both of these are very key details to know. We know blasphemies absorb ether, so I think the fact it's the Hog and Queen transformed specifically may be the most important one here. Indeed, if the beast has some memory of what it once was, we may very well be able to predict its future actions. That's not all we learned. While blasphemy can maneuver through water, it also frequents caves. Our best chance of defeating it is such a place. Our only chance, I dare say. I'll send scouts to identify any and all large caverns and coastal areas that could serve as a shelter for a massive creature. To ensure the safety of our people and any hope for peace with the Sahagin, this is a battle we must win. All your strength and wisdom will be needed in the days to come. Dismissed. Come, let us share our findings of the Maelstrom. Now that we've seen what the blasphemy is capable of for ourselves, 'tis more plain to me than ever they must be slain. Reach out to all trade ships entering and departing. Inform them that any sign of the blasphemy will be reported to the Maelstrom Command at once. Understood, but given the beast's abilities, how do you intend to overcome it? I trust the company heroes in Coda, experienced primal slayers all, will find a way. Yet I would leave no resource untapped. There is one more whose expertise I would call upon if you would agree. Even Westgat is all lost as the former commander's whereabouts, but where mayhap Ainzar could offer some guidance. No doubt you've still fatigued from the battle. Pray rest when you're able. When ready to take further action, you'll hear from me. Till then, take care. Alright, I'm starting to see why they decided to start at 85. That way we get one new quest for this per level rather than one every 2 or 3 levels, which is how it worked in Shadowbringers. Coconut cod chowder. A Near Eastern soup brimming with shallows cod simmered in silky coconut milk. I've never had anything like that before, actually. I swear, a lot of the recipes in this game make me hungry sometimes. Coda, I wish I had better news for you, but the blasphemy continues to elude us. Can you hear me, Commander? This is Whiskat. I have an idea how you may take down. Meet me in Costa del Sol as soon as you're able. Well, that sounds promising. I'll tell the Admiral you'll be away for a bit. Godspeed. And stay safe out there. Apologies for having you come all this way, Coda. Ever since our encounter with the blasphemy, I've been racking my brain to find a way to deal with this debilitating attack. Sadly, I've come up empty-handed, and my companions fare no better. That's when I started thinking, if only our finder was still with us. He always had a knack for noticing what the rest of us missed. His eyes were so sharp he could spot a foe's weakness with a single glance. It's thanks to him we were able to slay both Leviathan and Titan, and live to tell the tale. The rub is, well, he's a bit eccentric, and yes, you could say that about all company members, but unlike us, he prefers to work from the shadows. Truth be told, I've not seen him since the day we've disbanded. I doubt he'd help his old comrades even if we ask, but an order from the acting commander would be a different story. In our heyday, we had a way of reaching him. Whistle at the forked road, and sooner or later he'd show himself. Doesn't matter when, winter or summer, broad daylight or dead of night, he'd always be watching. With any luck, he still is now. But I've rambled on. Go, this may be our best and only shot. I remember back when Realm Reborn and Heaven's Ward hit, this island was not here at all. They only added it later in Stormblood when they added swimming to the game. Pretty neat, though. It's mostly just used for events. Yeah, it's usually just used for seasonal events, usually the summer one. Time to blow the whistle grass. I've never actually been good at whistling myself. As I was enjoying my retirement, why'd you have to go and bloody whistle? Call me Lawrence. I'm the company resident sharpshooter. At least I was in my day. No need to tell me how you are. I've been watching for quite some time. Don't get the wrong idea. I'm just curious how my former mates are faring. Not as curious as folks were about me, though. First Whiskat, then old Miss Beard himself. Ha! As if those old codgers could ever catch me. And now he has storied arrows summons before. No need to say why. You're gonna ask me to help take down that blasphemy? Oh, I'm not asking, I'm ordering you as the new Company of Heroes' new leader. You drive a hard bargain, I like that. Who am I to refuse an order from the company's acting commander? So tell me, acting commander, what specific duty would you task me with? I trust you do have a plan. So you need a way to neutralize the beast's most potent attack. I can tell you like getting up close and personal, so you'll be needing support from a distance. Who do you suppose might be best suited to that role? Merlin and her twin muskets can handle the job. But I think I know what direction we're going here. You, of course. Damn, Stray, my eyes are among the keenest in the realm, and yet doubtless heard from Whiskat. In pure marksmanship, none of them are the Admiral's equal. Yet Merlin is ill-suited for supporting. Not for lack of skill, but I'm thinking that there's something you should know. Follow me. Yeah, sadly, whatever class Muleweb is, it is clear she did not have any support training, so no party buffs on her end. Quite the view, wouldn't you say? I often come here to admire the sea. If you indulge me for a moment, I'll spin you a yarn. Try not to doze off. Back in piracy's golden age, the League of Lost Bastards ruled Rotano. I was one of them, as was Mirleweb. We were led by none other than our old man, and in Blow... It's the most feared captain of the high seas. Feared by his enemies, that is. Stern and unforgiving though he was, he took me under his wing and showed me the ropes. Aye, he was like a father to me, to us all, till that faithful day. It was year 1562 of the 6th Astral Era. Lominson merchantmen were struggling with the constant raids by the Sahagin. Around this time, this had yielded the day-to-day leadership of the bastards to Mirleweb, his pride and joy. She was still grown to the role, though, and everyone knew the old captain was still calling the shots. He had his noble streak, he did, ordered us to defend the traders and the fishbacks, and Mirleweb led the effort, and we fought day after day to keep the seas safe. The fight was fierce. We always came out one piece until we didn't. After skirmish, a Sahagin survivor, with his last breath, summoned forth the wall. A great beast toppled our masts and cackled the keel like an egg. We clambered aboard the merchantmen as our ship sank. Not to do but wait for the end. But there comes Blofus and his bleeding fortal out of nowhere to pulse out the fire, and he did. But the League of Lost Bastards would never be the same again. For even though we'd escaped with our lives, soon discovered the captain, our iron-willed and wavering leader, had fallen under Leviathan's thrall. Of course, in those days, we didn't know much about drowning or tempering. Didn't know what to make of our captain as he grew more and more haggard by the day. His words devolved into crazy labyrinth. Then one day he vanishes, taken off with half our men. Not long after, a band of pirates called themselves Serpent Reavers began taking prizes and they had to go deep alongside the Sahagin. At their home was none other than Blofus who cast his lot with the fishbacks. Mirleweb knew what it had done. To her credit, she didn't shirk from the deed. She acted quickly, sneaking off to cover a night to skeleton crew without much of telling me. Of course, that didn't stop me from stowing away in the cargo hold and joining her on the voyage. She was none too happy to see me at first, wanted to lead me out of it, she said. Seeing as I made myself known that she was struggling to fend off a horde of reavers and fishbacks, it wasn't hard to win her over. Her twin muskets fell on one after the next. As my sharpshooting kept her safe from afar, we cut a path to the center of the isle. As I found Blofus, or rather the miserable wretch he'd been reduced to, all bones, skin shriveled, tangled mat of white hair, eyes bulged over his head, like a fish as he prayed to the Lord of the world. Mirleweb challenged him to a duel. A dim memory must have flickered in his drowned mind, for he accepted. So, with only the mere witnesses, Mirleweb ended her father's life. League of Lost Bastards would live up to its name if it weren't for Mirleweb. But she assumed full command and restored us to her former glory. Not long after, she triumphed in the Trident and was named Chief Admiral of Linsa. I often think back of that day, seeing her charge into battle, muskets blazing. Might seem reckless to some, but that's how the captain taught her. She knows no other way. That's why I made my job to support her from the shadows. It's a role which I'll happily serve again. I owe that much to her old man. My only doubt was whether you, my friend, were worthy of commanding me, but watching you from afar has answered that question. I, Westcat, and the rest of my good companions that Lauren stands... Tell Westcat and the rest of my no good companions that Lauren stands with them. Probably call the stream after I complete this role quest, but it's quite nice. Getting some backstory on the leaders and stuff seems to be the main purpose if these role quests are similar like that, and I genuinely do not mind. Sure, we get a bit of them from quests, like the Gridania leader, you get a decent bit if you play the white mage job, but something like dedicated like this is quite nice. Did Lawrence show himself? Here's what happened. Ah, now there's a surprise. I had hoped your words might reach him, but never did I imagine you'd agree so readily. Just one thing, Code. I'd appreciate if you didn't mention Lawrence's involvement in the company. Land and Null in particular. They'll find out soon enough regardless. At any rate, this gives us new help against the blasphemy. All that remains is to set the snare and lure the beast to our clutches. Our scouts are on the lookout for the creatures we speak. If the latest reports to be believed, we're drawing ever closer. And with that, I'd best get back to it. I trust you report these latest developments of the Maelstrom. Till we meet again, Commander. Oh, I guess I could have also made a Mass Effect reference. I'm the commander, and this is my favorite shop in Limsa. I've actually never played Mass Effect. I'm told this original trilogy still mostly works rather well, ending aside, although 2 still seems to be agreed to be the best one. Oh right, I would need to teleport to the Aft Castle, don't I? Whoops. Search of the blasphemy continues, though I understand you've been carrying out entirely different investigation. Marksman by the name of Lawrence, eh? The Admiral will be pleased. Of course, we won't have much call for his skills until the blasphemy is found. Rest well and prepare yourself as necessary in the meantime. Lawrence, why is the name on the bell? To calmer seas. Oh, so that was him in this background this entire time. Interesting. In the background of the image for the quest, I mean. The Secretary is visibly dismayed. Despite our best efforts, the blasphemy eludes us. For the time, we... Sorry to interrupt, but I have incoming communication with Barriet. Commander, we've snared ourselves a blasphemy. We've our erstwhile companion Riol to thank. Knowing the creature was once Sagan Queen, I kept a close eye on the spawning grounds. Sure enough, he spied a massive black shadow moving beneath the water not long ago. After receiving word, Shamani directed the Maelstrom warships in the vicinity to herd the beast of the cannon fire into the Sasha Seagra. Isolated as that is, we can engage our foe without putting small folk at risk. Any words, your men, Commander? Company of heroes, assemble! You don't have to tell me twice, I've been aching for a rematch. Rushing blind, though, goes poorly for you as it did last time. Ha! Knowing you, I'm sure you'll show up in time to let me deal the killing blow. Now, can we not save our vitriol for the quarry which I've lured to the perfect spot is now waiting patiently for all of you to put out its misery? Brave Fox's goody gobby bombs blast over big blaster me into bitty pieces. Oh, motley or crew you'll never find. We'll serve you well when the battle's joined, believe you me. This is Merleweb. I'll ready the warship at once. Assemble outside the wench once you've seen all of your preparations. So the time has come. I shall pray for your victory. Well, I didn't get to leveling my gunbreaker laws like I was expecting, but I don't mind. These role quests have had a very interesting story. I wish I'd done them sooner. Ah, looks like here we go. Go. Ah, Coda, the others should be along soon. I have a bit tougher armor than the artifact gear most will be doing this in, so I should be okay. The blasphemy is still contained within Sahasha's Seagra. There it will meet its end, Navigator willing. Would that my brothers and I could join you in the fight, and yet blasphemous though it may be, the beast was once our mother. Understand, Null, forgive us for what we misdo. Whether it means reverse it, we would do all in our power. Sadly, there's nothing left of her to save. The future of Sagan and Limsa alike. For the future of Sagan and Limsa alike, the beast must be laid to blessed. And when the deed is done, I'll bring your brothers, even the crushing tide, aboard the great ship we call Vilbren. I do not want to slay her mother, but the thing she has become, a mindless beast who would enslave and kill her own, is an affront to the memory of who she was. It is not her, it is not. Remember that always. I will not ask you to shoulder the burden of matricide. When the time comes to strike the final blow, I will do the deed. Admirable, all you say is true, and yet... Commander, I've sighted a group of fishbacks. The crushing tide most like. Heading straight for the sea grot. You best make your way there and fast. Time to move out then. Any words for your men before we set sail? Today, the witch shall fall. The blasphemy shall fall. Yes, I'm still going to call them witches. You've grown this role quite well, haven't you? But enough talk. Let's show the realm what the company of heroes hasn't lost a step. Oi! We stand a better chance of slipping past if we split up. Coda and I will go together, the rest of you take a different route. Let's brook no further delay. To Satasha. This is actually one of the first dungeons in the entire game, so rather fitting that at least one story ends here. My queen, I beg, pray show your loyal son mercy. Yeah, basically William Tawny right there. Blasphemy, the Indigo Beast. It's Tao, or what's left of him. He couldn't control it like he was hoping. Ah, Speaker Tao, why would our queen do such a thing? As the shorewalkers say, what we thought to be a blessing is in truth a terrible curse. The horror, we must away at once. Leave the shorewalkers to face our queen alone? No, I'll stand with them. You mustn't sully your hands with the blood of your mother. Go and be with your kin. Go! Forgive me. I was beginning to think you've wandered off a cliff, Lawrence. Must you say it like that? I prefer to think of myself as fashionably late. Ooh, I love this song. But enough talk. It comes. Breaking Boundaries is the name of the song. Duty commenced. Here it comes. We're counting on you, Lawrence. Leave it to me. Aye. No enemy's weakness escapes my eyes. Just one shot here, and... there we go. Aye, there we go. Gruwa. See how easy that was? Reckon you can do it too, Acting Commander. Through the maelstrom. Yeah, it's trying to do its cheap instant win move, but it's too late. We already know it. Trick of yours won't work on us anymore. Ain't that right, Acting Command? Zato, you got time to put you out of your misery. gendered flare. Wait, where'd it go? Best be wary. Ow. Touchdown. There's no end to them. Prepare yourselves. Let's go. Ah, now the fun begins. Now we're getting somewhere. Let us finish the deed. And influence. Last week was absorbing their ether. I have a bad feeling about this. Absorbing their ether, is it? We best finish those beasts off quickly. Yeah, I'm gonna have to focus these down one at a time. I don't. Such power. Here it comes, steel yourselves. 10 seconds to extinction flare. 3 seconds to... Brave Fox feels ouchy. That's enough ether to go blast this entire island. We better work fast. We stand with you. Let's join you. As do we, the future of the Indigo Deep. go. Now's our time to shine. A paladin with the melee limit break. How amusing. There we go. There we go. The Indigo Beast is down. I'll not ask for forgiveness, but this I promise. You'll be remembered for the mother you were. Admiral, I have no words. Queen Mother returns, the depths in eternal slumber. Your strength, you could have crushed us. Why did you spare our lives? The beasts and blasphemies are born from the despair in our hearts, but no more. I would break the cycle. Though Doe may have been blind to it, I believe in the future where the Sagan and Lone Mincins live in harmony. Even after losing who she was, your queen made for your spawn grounds, and that it is where she drew her last breath. When your next queen is crowned, know that she will have a safe place to raise her young. Once you've selected a suitable location, Limsa will recognize and honor your claim. I promise for which we are grateful, Admirable, but what of other peoples in Villebrand? The kobolds are open to the idea. The details need to be negotiated, but I'm confident we can reach an agreement. Sagan, Kobold, and Limson alike yearn to abide in peace. We can make it so. I never fought alongside shorewalkers before, but I must say, it felt good. We have fought our neighbors for generations. As one's only suffering and tragedy, I beg of you, lay down your spears. We'll take time and effort to bridge the gulf between our people, but bridge it we shall. Sneaking away. I dare say we have a lot of talking to as well, don't we, Commander Lawrence? Landonel, if you allow me to explain. Well, let's be off before they drag us into their mess. Yeah, what's going on now is something they need to work out between themselves. We just be the third wheel, so to speak. Stalwart Sahuagin. Why did we ever believe that monstrosity was a blessing? What fools we were. But guess what we've done, Queen Mother? At last it's over. We can take pride in the respite we've won. Must never forget those who could not be here yet. You're fighting with gobby friends. Give this brave flocks good feels. Wondering where I was during the battle? Well, I wasn't slacking, if that's what you're implying. My duty is to protect the ship to ensure a safe return, truly. Yeah, Shamani lost their sight quite some time before the story began, so it makes sense that their ability to fight is going to be a little limited. I dare say that blasphemy was the most formidable foe our company has ever faced. I must further hone my skills, lest the next enemy prove too tough for us to handle. Who invited this bloody bastard anyway? Oh there, good to see our acting commander, hail and hearty. Perfect time, acting commander. You must save me from this bloodthirsty bastard. Well, Lawrence, let's hear your excuse, and it better be a good one. Why the seven hells were you skulking around in the shadows while we did all the dirty work? Ah, like you'd all be happier if I showed myself sooner. I can hear you. Now, why? You think we couldn't handle this on our own? Aye, I'd be bloody furious regardless, but don't think I've forgotten what happened, or rather, didn't happen, on the day of our duel. Even though the future of the company hung in the balance, I waited for some more, and you never turned up. But I got you now, and I will have satisfaction. Given Lauren's penchant for late arrivals, I couldn't help but worry too. Say he cut it fine would be an understatement. And not by choice, as usual, my scouts observed him roaming coastal Sol. It would seem our commander's woeful sense of direction has not improved in the least. I'm honestly surprised you never realized, Ladinol, that was to blame for his extreme tardiness. The commander did indeed arrive at the agreed upon location of your duel after the sun had risen a dozen times. Navigator, take me. Shamani, you promised you'd stay. That would stay between the two of us. Ah, Brave Fox, you have a kind word or two for your commander, don't you? Commander Lawrence, commander no more. New commander, friend to gobbies everywhere. Doesn't much sweat works for gobby kind. True, I did help the goblins a lot during the Alexander situation. As well as helping Brave Fox specifically during when her own stuff was stolen. And yeah, I thought you were too much of a coward to face me in battle. Come now, you know that. Better than that. Then settle we fight here and now, on your guard. Put that thing down, you could hurt someone with that. Hard to believe he was once the glue that held his merry band together. That's right, if you hadn't realized the obvious, Lawrence, our former commander. Forgive me for not stating it plainly sooner, I didn't want you to think we doubted your leadership. He's got his quirks, but as you saw, he's a force of nature on the battlefield. Anyhow, I think we can all say your stint as acting commander has been a rousing success. Now, I reckon it's time you gave the order. Company of Heroes, band break once more. Brave Fox never liked parting with gobby friends. Here, I may have had my complaints, but when we're together, a good fight's never far away. You hardly need a company or commander to get you for that, and Limson again being barreled, nothing stopping us from rising to the occasion. Till then, you're all strong enough in your own right, why not serve the weak in your own ways? You've had quite the turn of duty, but all good things must come to an end. Any parting words before we go away? Hey, give Gezru my best regards. Finally, I can enjoy some semblance of peace again. At least as much peace as a man can enjoy waiting hand and foot for the Lord of Costa del Sol. It may have been rough sailing, but I rather enjoyed sundering work under you, acting Commander Coda. It's time for you to do what I once did. Give your men the final orders, send them on their way. At last it's over. We can take pride in the respite we've won. Oh yeah, so they're all saying the same thing. I wait your orders, Commander. Look after the you, brave none. I have responsibilities. A tribe that wants my guidance and protection. I can ill afford to tarry here much longer. Nevertheless, it's with some regret I must take my leave. For all their faults, which they have many, they are my companions, and I will miss them. Why, you have something to say? Let's say it. Return the whalers and keep the murder to a minimum, please. As if you need to tell me. Well, I enjoy the diversion. I know as well as any my true places in Gridania leaving a respectful life. May not have been the perfect commander, but dwell with my witness. I hope to fight by your side again. Farewell. Well, it's here, Commander. Alright, you owe me a volley or finest Bacchus. Indeed, indeed. I will turn to Wineport as soon as I have tied up a few final loose ends here. Speaking of wine, I've always preferred the older vintages, left to sleep in the barrels for many a summer. They come out tasting better than ever. One might say the same about our own company. Brave Fox want busy work. Brave Fox away. No more cheese wars, please. Oh, Brave Fox feels heavy heart, but accept Umlander's bossy words. If Brave Fox had good times and happy fields, we'll all be friends, but good times will come again. And when they do, new boomsdigs will bring blasty doom to with much fastness. On that note, I'll be on my way. Slip again, are we? You are a creature of habit, aren't you? Well, we did learn that these two are practically siblings. I resented you for a time, you know, but I think I understand now. Better to shun fame and not serve as an example for glory seekers too eager to fight and too quick to die. Hey, you're overthinking. I'm a creature of whim. Man, lets a tailwind carry him where it will. But more importantly, this new age belongs to the new blood. I've had my day in the sun. If you succeed and broker in peace with the beastmen, there will be no need to worry about the primals. The company can go about permanent retirement, and then I can say I did right by the old man. If I hadn't been for their both, I don't know if I could have pulled the trigger. Thank you, Lawrence, brother. I did nothing as you, shouldered Captain Blowfist's bed and hand that to the entire league. I'm sorry, Emerald. I know it hasn't been easy for you. I dare say you've worked hard enough. Maybe as company folk aren't the only ones in need of retirement. But I said too much. Lawrence holding his tongue. Odds you have changed. But yes, my greatest test of the admirable lies ahead as we steer the great ship Vilbrin towards a new future. Truly you are your father's daughter. I owe you many thanks too. Dare say you did almost as good a job keeping my men in a task as I could have. God, Hunter, but something tells me our paths may yet cross again. Forgive me if I carry on like I've never seen you before. Not unlike my old friend Miss Beard, I prefer to keep my past in the past. With that, I'm off. Take care of yourselves. Last it's over. Oh, same as before. This might be different. No, it's not. The blasphemy is no more, but we'll never know lasting peace until the crushing tide agrees later in their arms. It'll be a daunting task, but as we saw in Sahasha, they are not beyond reason. I'll do all my power to see that your efforts and sacrifice to my brothers were not in vain. Forgive us, even after being freed from the false gods' thrall, still we cling to our hateful beliefs. It's easier to hearken to Speaker Dao's every word and turn a blind eye to harsh truth. Easier and cowardly. I'll return to speak to my brothers at Crushing Tide. I'll tell them of our Queen Mother's sacrifice and the vision of hope you shared with us. I'll ask only you to give us time and trust us to make our own decision. You have my word. If we would not be averse, let's return to the spawning grounds together. Venture, I have no words to express my gratitude. I'll repay you the only way I know how, by doing my part to usher in an age where short work and saga can stand in one. Just us now, it would seem. Ever since we achieved a measure of peace with the kobolds, I prayed this day would come as well. True, it is, of course, only a beginning. Negotiations must be held. Words exchanged in earnest will invariably lead to flared tempers and bruised egos. Such thing as accompany meaningful progress. The history of Vilbran is one of bloodshed, but one that we have the power to change our ways. After all, it's clear we're united more by our similarities than we are divided by our differences. I'll share what I've seen this Hagen with my fellow Lamentions and listen carefully to doubts and concerns. For it must be harmony not hoisted upon them from above, but one which they aspire of their own free will. No doubt, Noel and his brothers will feel the same. Again, you will come to Linus' aid, my aid at a time. You have come to Linus' aid, my aid, at a time we need it most. When next we meet, I hope 'twill not be as admirable an adventure, but as friends. Mayhap trading war stories over ale as the wench. For now, I must return to my duties. Drafting reports and decrees is hardly the most exciting part of my role, but it is a necessary one. If you happen to pass through Razahan, pray share your exploits with our delegate there. Doubtless he'll be interested to hear your first-hand account. One day I'll lay down these muskets of mine for good, but not yet, father. Yet. To calmer seas. There's no way to know if this piece, how much this piece will last, but what matters most is that it's here for now. And we should enjoy it for here and now as it lasts. Cody, return. Pray, what news from my homeland? Extraordinary. Chance a piece of the Sahagin? These are hearty tidings indeed. Without a doubt, you've helped dispel the power of despair that once hung over Vilbrand. And our people now bask in newfound hope. Must share news with the others, full glad they will be to hear the threats no more. Thank you again, my friend. Oh, I do get all those. No choosing. Nice. More than loss. Oh, dang, that all upgraded. Oh, no, wait, no, it didn't. It just can now be died. All that changes is the cape. Unfortunate. But still, glad I was able to get all this done. Almost 4 hours. I went a bit longer than expected, but hey, we got a lot of story out of this. Okay, we'll see how I'm feeling next time to decide what to play next, but until next time, thank you for watching, hope you had a good time, and I'll see you next time.